So yes, welcome everyone to episode 10 of the Shardbreaker podcast. We are doing episodes 40 through 45, although Mythic and Darkness have only read chapters 40 through 44, as I am going to be live reading to them the three sentences of chapter 45 today. So yeah, I am Midnight, who is the host of this podcast, and I'm here with Darkness
Hello.
and Mythic.
Hello.
All right, so let's get into it. So, we start with Ciri's point of view. She's enjoying a meal on the court green and pointedly ignoring Trellides. She's been trying different types of seafood and notes that it really wasn't appetizing to her, although she does like the various fruit juices. Trellides tries to get her attention by clearing his throat, but she continues to ignore him and nods to her servants to get her new dishes. Uh, she thinks about how she's forcing her servants to talk to her more and also wants to speak to more gods. She also briefly notices Light Song and waves to him, and although he waves back, he's kind of like preoccupied with something, which she isn't sure what about. Because although she's kind of shared, not really fully shared things with him, he hasn't really shared things fully with her either. They kind of briefly interact. But anyways, so Trellides unclears his throat again, and Ciri finally stands and asks him to walk with her. She notes that he has tried to summon her several times, but she didn't go because the consort of the God King shouldn't make a habit of responding to demands. Trellides says she shouldn't antagonize him, and she responds that she's just establishing rules that should have been understood from the beginning, which causes Trellides to smile briefly. It's also known that Ciri stops her hair from bleaching white. So before we get into the next little part, when you first saw that Trellides smiled briefly, before we kind of find out why he ends up smiling, what did you think it was like because she was kind of acting more like in her position, or what did you think about that?
Darkness.
Yeah, I was trying to think about it, but
Yeah, I know, right? I was trying to think back that far.
yeah, same. But maybe it's like sort of like a challenge sort of feeling.
Yeah, because I mean, we do learn that the reason he's smiling is because he can see her hair like very slightly shifting hues. But I know at least when I was first reading it, before I remembered that and I like reread it, I was like, oh, he's like kind of secretly pleased that she's acting a little more like he thought she should.
Yeah.
But yeah, we soon learn that he seems to be smiling every time she has a little spike of anxiety, and that's because she notices that he actually has a decent amount of breath. He has a little aura breath of color change around him, and likely can see very small changes in hue, indicating her hair color changes even if she thinks she has them under control. So she's like, she's like, it's like shifting slightly lighter, I'm assuming, in color, because she's trying to keep it from going white. So it's getting slightly lighter, and so most people wouldn't be able to tell, but anyone with the third heightening would be able to. Um, and so Ciri then tries to take back control of the situation by saying she has some power if Trellides is forced to seek her out. And are you surprised that Trellides has enough breath to notice changes in hue?
Not at all.
I kind of am. I didn't really think he had like that much.
Yeah, because like that's
Breath
third
like,
heightening. That's as much as Vivenna has, and they do
yeah.
note that like a lot of people don't. But he is the high priest of the God King at the same time.
Yeah.
Because we know that I think most of the priests have some level of breath more than their one, but I think it's maybe not common to have that many. I'm not sure if they've mentioned how much the priests usually have.
Do you? They haven't gone over how like the color changing works too much, right?
What, her hair?
Of her
Because
hair?
yeah, I
It's
I
was
mean,
wondering.
it's
it's by
affected by,
emotions.
yeah, it's affected by her
Yeah,
emotions, but she can also kind of like how you can control your facial
yeah,
expressions, you can control your hair color.
yeah. I thought I was wondering like, what do you think it would tire her out if she constantly did it?
Um,
I'm pretty sure that the color never tired her out. It was growing the hair
Growing.
and like
yeah,
That's
all
what I
of
growing
was
that.
it.
thinking.
I mean,
So
unless you could
Yeah,
get like kind of emotionally exhausted, just like you could like
yeah,
trying to
of
hide
course.
your emotions fully, like I don't
I
think it would.
think everybody gets that.
Yeah, I think it wouldn't really necessarily tire her out more than just like trying to keep a straight face in a situation would.
I was just thinking, what if she just constantly changed her hair color? You know?
She could
Mm.
just if she really wanted to, she could. I mean, she probably has to focus. She would have to focus on it, but she probably could just like make her hair just like rainbow shift through like. Although not really.
I
I think
mean,
it.
it'd be easier than just like hiding.
Yeah.
The
Although I don't think you can like make it rainbow. I think it's only like natural hair colors. It seems like they can do.
Rainbow would be funny though.
It would be. But yeah, I think it's only like it can go from like pale white all the way to dark black, and the only real, and it's really only natural colors. Like it can't go blue.
Huh.
um,
Wait, I just thought of something else. Okay, do you remember when Sister Brown asked her to change her hair color? What was
mhm.
it? What was the color again?
He liked
It's
it red, I believe, because she notes that he likes like really bright colors. Cause I think she makes a joke about like are you Halandrin and you're like bright colors or something.
Uh-huh. Okay. I'm just like, wouldn't her like hair sparkle if it was like if she was around him and like it was like white?
Oh yeah, if she made her hair like fully white, it probably would prism.
Yeah. Anyway, continue. That's just me wondering.
She just hangs out with him, then her hair looks rainbow.
Yeah, that's what I
well,
was
yeah,
thinking.
yeah,
You know?
Did you say Mythic?
exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's just rainbow hair color.
Mm-hmm. Also, my other comment was, are you surprised Siri didn't notice until now that he had so
Mm,
many breath?
I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not surprised she didn't notice, but she's pretty oblivious.
Well, I'm low-key surprised. Like, how do you not notice people with like, because she. Well, I mean, it makes sense that she could tell
What
from
what
that
I
time.
think what I think could be possible is that I mean, because I'm pretty sure we've already learned the fact that they can do it. So maybe he
Yeah,
hides it.
Oh, he
Maybe he
could,
hides it.
yeah.
Yeah, and like so
But he needs
right
to have
now,
it to like whenever
yeah,
he
that's it.
to like see her hair color changes. So maybe if he's having an
Hmm.
important discussion with her, he takes them out.
Yeah, or something to that extent. I mean, because it's not like they've talked that much.
Mm-hmm. Also, if they're in an all black palace, like you can't really make black much brighter. Maybe she just wouldn't notice inside the palace.
Hmm.
So like I'm trying to think about that. Like, would you really a color or a really change unless you're like right up against some of the colored furniture? Would it really change that much? I wonder.
hmm,
I don't know. I don't know how that would work. Um, but yeah, so as their conversation continues, Siri forces her hair to stay completely black. And Trellides mentions she isn't continuing her duties. And Siri
Hmm.
says it's because she was on, basically says she was on her period. And asks if her,
Monthly cycle.
yeah, on her monthly cycle. She's on her
Hmm.
she's on her period. And asks if his spies are missing their nightly show. Trilody's flushes and seems uncertain as Siri's hair doesn't change color. So it's like throwing him off now that her hair is like not changing
Black.
like at all.
He's
And
black.
and then Trilodes admits someone was actually in the God King's chambers the first couple of nights to make sure Siri didn't try to kill the God King, which embarrasses
It's a
Siri
good thing she didn't
slightly.
do anything stupid.
So yeah, so what do you think of the fact that someone was actually in the room? I'm assuming like hiding in the closet or something the first few nights. Are
Now,
you
see,
surprised?
that's funny. I find that hilarious. Some guys just sitting there peeping. They're like, "Oh, we're gonna see this. We're gonna see them getting it on,"
Who do you think would be
and
allowed
nothing
to see
happens.
her and or potentially the God King naked? Like,
that's what I was thinking. I was like,
Hopefully,
what?
Trellides. I want
oh
that
God.
perv to. I want that perv to come out that man's a perv, and he really wanted to see the God King naked.
My thought also is like, if someone does see the God King naked, like, if they confirm that things are happening, do they then kill that person because he's
I was
seen the
gonna
God
think,
King?
did they slaughter them after?
Do you get executed if you've seen the God King naked? And they're like, fine though because he never did. I don't know.
Possibly.
Just imagine them sweating like profusely in the closet.
Like,
Just like,
please don't get naked. But yeah, imagine she had like a knife or something. They just jump out like, aha! You have to have a knife fight naked. That'd be horrible.
uh, no.
Knife edge death fight.
Yes, yes.
Um, so yeah, so then Siri then says she stopped her nightly activities on purpose to get Trellides' attention. She also thinks
Hmm.
that it means that they believed her acting, which yeah, that's probably a good thing. She's like, okay, they're not actually suspicious of my acting if they like think I've
I mean,
stopped.
that's if she's able to, insightfully figure out what he's if he's being truthful or not.
That's true. They're just like, oh, you've stopped your act. Why?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because like later here when she starts getting a little more bold about some things, some details, like
Mm-hmm.
he he could be the same. He could be doing the same kind of thing,
It's
you
true.
know.
But yeah, so she tells him that she knows the God King has no tongue and is basically a
Hmm.
child. And Ciri notes that Trelady's reaction means he at least cares somewhat for the God King, or at least considers an insult to the God King an insult to him. And Ciri thinks
Yeah.
that she wants Trelady to think she looks down on Susebron, so he won't suspect that they are working together. Trelady then explains why they cut out Susebron's tongue, because they must make sure the treasure of breasts are never used. He also makes notes about Idrian, such as Ciri's father, being ignorant and prejudiced. Ciri then requests to have the Pancall women be her main servants instead, which Trelades agrees to. Do you think Trelades cares for Susebron, or that the devotion of the priests are to just the treasure of the breasts, not to the God King, considering their conversation?
So I think it's kind of a little of both, in my opinion. But I think it probably started with it being about the treasure, and then like I'm sure Susabron can grow on people because he's grown on Siri. So like he probably grew on him, and he's kind of has at least some kind of like care for him. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but the thing that I thought was very interesting and kind of swayed me to more to my side of, I'm thinking that Hallandren is not actually that bad,
Mm.
like of a place. Is when he is talking about the treasure, he says, "Lord Peacegiver, left us a challenge. He gave us the treasure our God King now holds, a wealth of biochromatic breaths such as nobody has ever seen, over 50,000 breaths. He told us
Mm-hmm.
to keep them safe. And then he warned us not to use it."
Yeah, so it's like the
And
whole job of them is to basically make sure these breaths are never used.
yeah, and so in my opinion, and it's going to sound very callous, but if the God King is such a child in mind, like of course he may end up going through that rebellious phase and use them, and they might know something about the fact that like if you use this it might cause something to happen that we don't want, and so they have to try to stop him from doing that.
Hmm.
And I mean, like, as
Well,
callous as it sounds, best way to do it would be to remove his tongue.
yeah. Well, I think also along with removing his tongue, I think it's kind of implied that the reason he's childlike and they don't let him learn to read or write is again to protect the treasure of breast, so he
Hmm.
doesn't figure out ways around things, right? Like
He already is
their
though.
whole goal of kind of sheltering him, cutting out his tongue and everything is like we cannot let him use this. We don't
Hmm.
trust like these god kings, like we don't know what their intentions are going to be. They can do whatever they want because they hold them. We don't trust them to not just use them for whatever they end up wanting to.
Now, here's an even bigger question.
Mm-hmm.
Who cut the tongue, and are they dead now? Because they hurt the God King, technically, you know?
I don't. I think it's implied that just the priests in general, like the. I don't know if Trelades was the high priest at the time that Susebron was born, and they would have. I don't know when they would have cut out his tongue. I'm assuming sometime around the time he started learning to talk. I don't know if they did it like right when he was born or later on in life, but I think he basically says we, meaning like the priests did
Priests in
it.
general. Yes. But I mean,
Um,
like, they're literally hurting someone who they like.
well, that's why I was talking about like the what my kind of question was is like they seem like to see that this is like the right thing to do because they're protecting the treasure breast that they were left by Peacegiver, who seems to be the kind of like the real person that they're kind of worshipping almost. So that's why I was like, do you think he really cares for Susebron, or is it like just that Susebron holds
I
these breasts and that's why they
I
revere
think
him?
I think it's more of them caring about the idea of a God King rather than the Susubran himself.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more like, oh, I'm in this position, I have to like uphold it because it's my responsibility, but it's like nothing personal, you know.
Yeah, because unlike
And
seeing the God King naked, I'm not sure they would consider cutting out his tongue to be against their belief almost. Like they're considering this to be like for the best of their religion and their society
yeah,
almost.
I mean, so is watching the God King make love to Siri.
I don't know.
Or at least, okay, or better yet, making sure that Siri doesn't murder the God King.
Yeah, basically making sure that yeah.
And if by chance they just happened to see some, love making, that it was in the name of their religion.
I wonder how they would have stopped it.
Well, I'm assuming whoever was in there probably had a weapon with them to like defend the God King and like were
Oh
like
yeah, that'll go
trained
over
or
real well.
something.
That's what I was thinking. Like, I don't know if that'll, do much, but
I mean, they haven't shown that there's any guns in this, so
pew
not
pew.
like you could pull out a gun on him.
No, I don't think there's any guns. I think their farther threat is like
What do you mean that the
swords
Idrians
and stuff.
literally have snipers?
They do? Since
No.
when?
No. Darkness is just being silly. But yeah, so then Ciri goes back to her meal and she notes that she probably antagonized Treleady's further, but that he was unlikely to like her anyways. She also notes that hopefully giving the Pancall women a more prominent position will make Bluefingers more likely to help her and Susebron escape. And what do you think, if any, the changes to who her main serving women will cause?
You're saying that it's going to cause problems?
No, I'm saying like it just what do you
Like
think the
what
changes are
what would
gonna
it
like
do?
what might this affect if anything? Like is there gonna be positive things with like blue fingers? Is there gonna be like negative things within like the religious people? Like is there gonna be any change at all? Like is this gonna affect things, the fact that her serving women are now gonna be mainly Pancall women?
I mean, I'm
I
sure it will, but I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal.
Yeah, I think she's doing it more of like I need neutral ground and people that won't like more obviously be directly under the you know priest orders and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're not as much of like how do I say it? They're not like that sort of like when you lean to do something
Mm-hmm.
uh they're not like too into like trying to expose what she's doing all the time towards to other people
Yeah.
because I feel like there's definitely like servants that are like reporting back.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure there are. I'm sure there's servants making
So
notes of
she's
her
trying to
every
like
move.
filter them out and stuff. So it makes sense that she would do that.
Yeah, she obviously trusts Bluefingers and the Pancall women a lot more than she trusts the
Yeah.
women working under Treleady's and the other priests.
I mean,
So I think she said,
for good reason.
yeah, I think she's. I mean, even at the very start, I think she just said like she felt more connected to them because they were kind of also like immigrants and kind of outcasts in the
Yeah.
society.
I'm pretty sure she even says something similar in this chapter.
She might, yeah, I'm not sure. She does. I don't have a note of it at the moment. Yeah, so that's chapter 40. And then we go into chapter 41, which we're back with Vivenna on the streets.
Oh no.
Yay!
Yay! So she's talking to a man named Cads, who apparently likes to wear fancy clothing that is quite dirty so that he can mock the highborns. And he is berating Vivenna for only bringing one bit, which I'm assuming is a type, some part of their currency. I don't know if that's
Coin or
like a
something, yeah.
penny or a dollar. I have no idea
Interesting.
what
Sounds like
value
it'd
it
be like
is.
a copper.
Yeah. So one bit to an alleyway that has garbage bins for restaurants. So it's like high value garbage scraps. And Kaz says even children can bring him 2 bits. Mavena notes that she hasn't eaten in days. Kaz shoos her away, keeping the 1 bit she brought, even though he gives her nothing in return. And Vameda's mind seems to continue to have trouble understanding her situation. She even has trouble remembering why her shawl is so important. She notices some whores who look fed clean and are laughing, and for a moment she considers how tempting it looks before moving on and knowing that she wouldn't do that yet. She then hides. She then finds her latest alleyway and goes to lay down. So how long do you think it would have taken Vivenna to give in to this, as she seems to think she would have eventually?
Probably a week.
Another week, do you
Mm,
think?
Hmm.
I don't know. I feel like honestly it would be here real soon, like in like the next day or two. But
Yeah, I mean, I
can't
think
get food.
she's on the streets for what, a week, maybe 2 weeks at most.
Hmm.
We learn.
I
It's a
I
week.
thought it was almost a month, to be honest.
No, it's not that long. It's a week maybe two. I think she knows that like it feels very long, but she's barely there like a week or two. Like she I mean we learn later that she has a disease. Basically, she has like a an
Quite a
illness.
few of them actually.
No, she has one. It's like this. It's basically like a parasite you get like from like
That
mosquitoes or
creates
something.
dementia
Yeah, it
Hmm.
creates a whole bunch of
and all this other
symptoms.
stuff,
Yeah, it creates a whole bunch
which
of symptoms, but it's one
which
disease.
are in their own diseases.
I guess, but those are they're basically symptoms of the one thing. But yeah, so basically like her whole mind fuzzy. I think it also creates like extra hunger. So she's like so she's starving like more than she should be, or she feels like she is. So like it really fucks with her, which is why she like degrades so quickly. Um,
She just degrades so quickly because she's weak.
Uh,
well, it's because she doesn't have her breast to keep the
Her
disease away.
breasts? Wait, when did she give away her breasts? I thought
Oh
those
my
would
god!
cost like so
Shut
much
up!
more.
Oh my
She's about to.
gosh! No.
No, that's other parts of her body that she's gonna give up.
Anyways, a group of thugs then appear, and although Vivenna tries to run, she's trapped on either side.
Correct.
The man who stole her dress appears and says the bounty got too high, but that it took him a long time to find her. The thugs begin to drag her away, mentioning bringing her to death. However, they suddenly stop, and Vivenna sees a black sword rammed into the dirt. One of the thugs grabs the sword and unclasps the sheath, causing the other thugs to cluster around and try to reach for it. The thug with the sword swings the weapon, sheath and all, into the face of his friend. Black smoke twists off the sword, rising from the the sliver of blade that was visible. The men fight for the sword, and the
Like
one holding the
vines.
sword continues attacking them, moving with terrible speed and doing more damage with a sheathed sword than he should have done. The clothing on the sword wielder's arm has disintegrated, and a blackness like vines twist up and around his shoulder, black pulsing veins that bulge out of the skin. The man screams and rams the sword through his chest, even though the sheath does not seem sharpened. The blackness then evaporates from his skin, and I believe he's propped up because the blade goes right back and he falls backwards, so
Yeah.
he's like propped up by the sword. So yeah, what did you think seeing Nightblood in action like this?
Pretty cool.
So we now know how like you keep finding just like a pile of bodies every time he shows up is
Just
you just
kill
start
each
all
other.
attacking
Yeah.
each other and apparently with terrible speed. So like it seems like this sword is like even sheathed like it does way more damage than it should and you can somehow stab through yourself while it's sheathed even though the sheath isn't sharp. So like you kill everyone around you and then you kill yourself. And
Well,
and then also the like clothing disintegrating and like these black bulging veins like vines under the skin. You guys feel about
Yeah,
all that information?
the vine thing was pretty cool.
You have any thoughts, Darkness?
no. I'm just trying to figure out like it's because I don't have enough information and it's really like triggering me because I can't like what is what is that?
That's what I was
Like,
gonna ask. Yeah, what do you guys think this is? This blackness that like goes like under their skin basically, and then evaporates when they're dead.
It's evil biochroma.
hmm,
Because he's an evil sword.
He's not an evil sword. He destroys evil.
he's the
Now
best
he's an
sword.
evil sword.
He destroys evil. He would destroy himself if he was evil.
Can he destroy
Nah,
himself?
he's just an evil sword.
Nightblood is a good. He's a good sword. Love Nightblood. So yeah, so then a figure descends from a rooftop, lowered by two animated ropes. He ignores Vivenna and grabs the sword, does up the clasp, and pulls the sword from the corpse. Vivenna sits down the street, and Vasher picks her up and slings her over his shoulder. So when you got to the end of this chapter, what did you think Vasher was going to do with Vivenna before you read further?
Train her. Like even before we went further, I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, here comes the training montage.
I like how she just like collapses underneath and he just like flings her over his shoulder like a doll or
Yeah.
something.
I definitely thought like, oh well, he's gonna save her now.
Also, I just thought like, so if we do go with the theory that it's like some sort of like reverse biochroma or some fucking like
Mm-hmm.
like inverted thing, it would make sense if it causes like delirium or some sort of like like not in the right state of mind towards whoever tries to wield it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because
Well, we know it's
like
they specifically called it twisted biochroma.
yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
like normal biochroma like breaths and stuff, they like keep you healthy and stuff. So
Mm.
it makes sense that it would damage you if it was like the opposite.
Yeah.
Twisted. Yeah.
So you're saying it's
Mm-hmm.
basically like the opposite, and it's basically like destroys you, um, and like I guess like yeah, like I
Yeah.
don't know, it disintegrated its clothing, which is like the
Mm-hmm.
weirdest part to me, in my opinion. But yeah.
I does does it did it I don't I'm so over this. Like I'm trying to
Over
figure
what?
this out so bad, but it's so hard.
Darkness is trying to think so hard. He just doesn't have all the information. He's like, I need to
Mm-hmm.
know.
I need to
Yeah.
read more.
I'm just gonna Google it. I'll be back.
You can't Google
No,
it. We're getting so
Okay.
close to the end.
Okay.
we really are.
Um, but yeah, so uh, then chapter 42, a light song chapter, which
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed this light
What?
song chapter. So yeah, we
Also, one of my favorite chapters too.
yeah, it's a good chapter. We switched to Light Song's point of view. Light Song is being told that All Mother has told uh, this priestess not to respond to Light Song's requests anymore, as she has been made to ask All Mother 14 times if Light Song can see her. Light Song gets around this by having the priestess get a different priestess to ask if All Mother will see him. And Light Song happily notes to Larimar that he is developing a new skill of irritation by proxy, which seems like the best skill, in my opinion. The priestess then comes back and says no priestess is allowed to ask if Lightsong can come see her, and also that every other phrasing that would imply asking her to come within Lightsong's proximity, or communicate with him by letter, or relay messages in any form are not allowed. Lightsong says there is nothing to be done then, and tells Larimar that he'll be sleeping here tonight and to set up his pavilion. He also notes it's been over a week since he has started trying to see her. So he's basically spent a week trying to see her, and then he's just like shown up and he's like, fuck it. I'm just gonna keep asking this priestess over and over. Like, can I see her now? No. Can I see her now? No. Can I see her? Just this poor priestess. I feel so bad for her.
You know what's even worse?
Mm.
If this like maintained and there was no like outside influence or anything, they're immortal. They can stay there forever. You
Mm-hmm.
know?
Yup.
Just asking.
And like he can have his servants bring it, like his servants and priests bring him stuff. So like he can just like he said, set up a pavilion that has it's always nice weather here. Like even if it's not sunny, it's like always warm. So he's just like set me up a bed, like bring me food. I don't need to really like he technically doesn't even need to eat. He's like I'm just gonna chill here. Bring me entertainers.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Lightlong then asks if squirrels have been forbade from the palace, which confuses the priestess, and Lightsong has the lifeless squirrel go into the palace and run around squeaking and destroy furniture. Larimar states that the squirrel won't be able to follow all those commands, and Lightsong just shrugs. So yeah, what do you think about Lightsong's tactics to get Allmother to speak with him?
I like them.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed them. They
They're
were really
so
fun.
much fun. I don't really know if I could hold out against them. I'd just be annoyed
You
so
can't even
much.
hold out against your own children. How are you going to hold out against Lightsong?
uh, so yeah, so then Allmother was very stubborn, and several hours passed before a priestess, looking frazzled, finally comes out and says Allmother will see him. During this time, Lightsong had a loud band playing instruments with lots of percussion. Lightsong teases the priestess for a minute by saying he wants to finish listening to the song before saying very well then and rising. The bored priestess looked so horrified. Like I can just imagine her looking horrified, but he's just like, "No, I'm gonna finish this song."
Yep.
So the sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just there's there's so many extra like things that he's done. It's just like amazing to picture.
Yeah. So we're then in Allmother's audience chamber. People are waiting in a line, and Allmother was sitting on a throne in the front of the room. She has white hair and wrinkles and is the oldest looking of the gods. Lightsong notes that the last time he was here was the night before Comseer gave up her breath, and the three of them shared Comseer's last meal. So what do you think it says about Allmother and Lightsong that Comseer specifically had her last meal with just the two of them?
I mean, maybe she had said something to her. I don't know.
You make thoughts, Darkness?
Um, can you repeat the phrasing of the question again?
I was just saying, what do you think it says about Allmother and Lightsong that Comseer specifically had her last meal with them?
They were very good people.
Huh. It's I'm sorry. It's just I didn't really put that much thought into it.
That's okay. I just thought it was interesting that like everyone seems to agree that Comseer was one of like the few good gods left, and like Comseer was like
Yeah.
these two gods specifically are the gods that I'm gonna spend my because I'm assuming she must have been like, okay, I'm giving up my like I've agreed to this one petition. I guess they're like, okay, we'll do it tomorrow, and so she like had like a last evening meal or something, and she specifically invited Allmother and Lightsong. It sounds like.
Yeah. I do remember Lightsong talking about how like she was one of like the better gods or whatever.
I think
Um,
if I'm remembering correctly, Blushweaver kind of agrees with him too about that.
I want to know like what makes her so like different besides the fact that she's like given her life.
Well, I think they talk
I
about
mean, I feel like she's just been doing. She did a lot of really good stuff,
yeah, I think they talk
Yeah,
and
about it
I
because
mean,
previously and
we
maybe in
haven't
this
gotten there
chapter
yet.
too that she does similar things to Allmother where like she would spend like all day going through like petitions and stuff like
yeah, that's
that.
what I was gonna say. I was like I was wondering if she would like help them like with specific problems instead of just listening
Yeah, so I think
and
it
saying no.
yeah, it does say specifically later in this chapter that Comseer would meet with people all day. So I think she was basically doing what Allmother does here, which we'll get into in a minute, but basically she would go through and be like, "Okay, how can I help each and every single one of these people without
Yeah,
giving away my breath? Like is there a way to help them?" And
and
like she would just like
I'm
talk
also
to them constantly.
I'm also wondering what if she did that. What is that like that point where she like was like I can't help them in any way besides giving my breath away.
Yeah, I'm assuming it must have been like completely incurable disease or like something, right? Like there had to have been something like
Hmm.
super like if nothing happens in the next 24 hours like maybe like a young child or something will die. I don't really know. I don't think we ever I don't think we know um what exactly she gave up her breath for, but it was obviously
Well,
something she
I mean, my speculation is that she gave her breath up, but I don't think she actually did.
Yeah, I know yeah, you have a bunch of theories, but
Like
Hmm.
if we go by some of the theories that we've had,
mhm,
and she gets killed after giving the breath away or
mhm.
whatever, right? Um, Lighttongue's gonna be hella pissed if he finds out. Like I can feel that like that's like that would be a trigger point where
Light
he would
Song
get like
brings the war. Light Song starts the war. That's why he's been having all the
well
dreams about the whole city burning.
here's the
Hmm.
thing though. Oh my god, it's coming up though. Let's just go.
Okay, we'll keep going. We'll come. Yeah, if you want, we can come back to this later.
Hmm.
All right. So yeah. So Lightsong approaches Allmother. She is listening to a man speak about his children starving because his leg no longer works, so he can't go back to his job on the docks. Allmother tells the man that she can get him a job working on sewing nets, as his hands are still good even if his leg isn't. What do you think about Allmother's way of dealing with the petitions?
I love it.
Right? I feel like this is like the way it should be. And I think she even says later,
Yeah,
like, this is the way it used to be. And it's like, this makes sense. Like, you are their gods. Like, you have connections. Help them.
Well, I mean, maybe okay, like because I don't know if all the gods have connections like that. Uh, but I
does Light
mean,
I doubt Lighttongue at
right?
least.
Like as long as he has no connections, so
Well, maybe if he, like, worked hard to actually be a god instead of being like, nah, I'm not a god. I'm just going to be lazy and pretend not to be a god all day. Maybe he
But
would
he's
have
not a god.
connections. I mean, he might not be a god, but at least Allmother, whether she's really a god or not, is
God
like,
or not,
well,
she
I'm
still
gonna
helps.
like
Yeah.
talk to people, and then I'm gonna like get people these connections. And like for all we know, her connection is just another person she helped previously.
Probably.
Like, she's like, oh, I helped this guy who works on sewing nets. Because I helped him, I'm sure I can connect with him and be like, hey, can you get this guy a job? Because I'm trying to help him like I helped you. So,
Interesting.
like, all her connections could literally just be people she's helped in the past. And she, like, has, like, a big ledger of, like, this person did this job and has, like,
She
these
has a
sorts of
full like
connections.
a phone book and stuff.
She's got,
Like
like, a big
calling up
filing
people.
cabinet of, like, different people that she's helped. So Allmother then acknowledges Lightsong and
Priests, bring me my file cabinet.
priest,
Actually,
bring me every person who's worked on the docks.
that would be insane because she would have information on everyone.
Well, also, here's the other thing, right? So let's say even if she had no connections, couldn't you just be like, "Hey, I'm a god. You, doc person, could you
Yeah.
just take him as a, could you just give him a job? Like, she's a god. She can do whatever the fuck she wants, apparently."
But yeah, so then Allmother acknowledges Lightsong and has his lifeless squirrel tied up. Lightsong is surprised most of his commands worked on it. I think everything but like the chewing on furniture basically worked. He
Yeah,
was like,
because
oh.
Scoot said it wouldn't.
Yeah, he's just like, oh yeah, Larmar said it wasn't really gonna work.
Which is my
Uh,
favorite part while he's explaining it to her about that. He's like, "Yeah, Larmar said it wouldn't work."
yeah, he didn't.
Even though
Larmar said the
before that he
the
said
squirrel
he
wasn't smart
had no
enough to
idea.
like do all those commands.
But yet before that he tells Allmother that like, no, I didn't have anything to do with it.
Yeah, then afterwards he's like, I mean, it got away from me. Oops.
Oops.
um, But yeah, once they're out of earshot of the people in the audience chamber, Allmother reprimands Lightsong and says he could cost them their access to breath. Lightsong asks if that is what Allmother tries so hard. Why Allmother tries so hard with the petitions, but Allmother says most gods used to do that in the past. Lightsong then says he is here to give Allmother his lifeless commands. He says it would be best to
Oh
counter
God.
Blushweaver by having two gods with two sets of lifeless commands. Allmother states that Comseer trusted him and says she would meet with the people all day. Lightsong then gives Allmother his command phrase and says he'll tell Blushweaver Allmother bullied him into it. Were you expecting Lightsong to give Allmother his commands? I believe one of you did kind of say you thought he
No,
might.
I expected something, but I don't. I mean, maybe not exactly that.
No, I thought that he was gonna get the command from Allmother
Yeah.
and not give it to Blushweaver.
Yeah, that's
Right,
what we
sorry,
were
that's what you
saying.
would. Yes, apologies.
Then it'll be 50-50. But I like his plan better because
Yeah, he just went after
she
he
doesn't
was
want
like,
to give it.
have
Yeah, he
my
doesn't want to give it.
commands.
Exactly.
He doesn't have to deal
She
with
doesn't
it
want to.
too.
She doesn't want to give it to Blushweaver. So like, it's a
Yeah.
pretty good plan in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think that
Yeah.
one of the reasons, I mean, not just because Allmother has them, but I think also I'm assuming part of his intentions are because Comseer trusted Allmother, and he has like a lot of respect for her. So she's like, she also has a set of commands, plus Comseer really liked Allmother, so she deserves to have my commands too. So it's 2 and 2.
Yeah.
So
A
like,
very smart play.
yeah. And then Allmother tells Lightsong her command phrase. She's like, no, 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 no. I'm gonna give you my
Best
command.
ever. Best ever.
Yeah.
Said
Just now we both have each other's commands. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
God,
So
I
she
like
states
her
that
so much
she
more.
dreamed Lightsong would come, saw it in pictures all week, and saw his colors in her paintings. The chapter ends
That's
with
where I was like, oh shit. I guess maybe they're not as like maybe they are actually having prolific dreams.
yeah, and the chapter ends with Allmother saying she is curious to see how he'll handle her commands. So yeah, so they both give each other their commands, and it's like, well, shit, we both know them now.
this is where
Mexican standoff.
this
Yeah,
is where my
so
brain was like, okay, ask your question.
First of all, I think you're gonna get into my second question, Darkness. But my first question was, were you expecting Allmother to give Lightsong her commands? Which I think you thought Lightsong would
I mean,
convince her to,
eventually, yeah.
but
I think he'd convince her. I didn't think he should just give it to him.
yeah, he's like, here's
I
my
thought,
commands, and she's like, no, 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 no. Here's my command. And he's like,
Yeah, oh
excuse me,
my
you just said you
goodness.
wouldn't.
She
yes,
had. I mean, he had to work for it, right?
I mean,
technically,
I guess, yeah, he spent
Like,
like a week trying to get to her, which apparently all week she was seeing like his colors and him in pictures and stuff and paintings. And then my
right?
second question, which I think probably it sounded like relates more to what Darkness was going to say, was, what do you think will happen now that they both know both sets of commands?
you see, here's the thing. I don't remember. Did Blushweaver ever tell Light Song her command?
No.
No.
Lightsong does not
Okay,
know her commands or Mercy Stars. Blushweaver knows, Blushweaver knows Mercy Stars and Hope Finders. I think,
Mm-hmm.
does Lightsong technically know Hope Finders? I think he does. Oh, no,
I
he
think so.
did, but Blushweaver changed them. She specifically
Yeah,
said she
yeah.
changed them. So he doesn't now. He did know them at one point, but she's changed them. So Blushweaver is the only one who knows those two sets of commands. She does not know Lightsong's. And Lightsong obviously knows his own, and now he knows All Mother's as well, and All Mother also knows both of those. Is where we're
Yeah.
at.
Okay, so there's so
Are
many
you are
ways
you
it
are
can
you
go
putting
down.
the red wires together?
I'm trying. It's because they're going everywhere.
He's that meme with the guy pointing at the board with like
Yeah.
all the
The
strings
red
and
wires.
pictures.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Mhm.
there's multiple ways this can go,
Yeah.
right? There could be some sort of betrayal, and they could change their sort of like commands, right? Because there is a way to reset them and like change the
Yeah,
commands.
they have the main phrase, which means either of them could go and overwrite the other person's commands.
Yeah, so that can happen,
Yeah.
right? There can be a thing where like Light Song's like, no, I didn't get anything, right? And then Loki like try and figure out Blushweaver's commands, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which would require effort. I don't know if that's like
That's not something he does. No.
yeah. And ultimately they're definitely gonna clash because there's no way that, that with him or like just Almother having both commands, there's no way either one is not gonna clash with Blusher trying to like
Yeah, I mean, it
Mm-hmm.
sounds like
go against
Lightsong's plan was like, give Almond the commands. She's obviously stubborn enough that she won't deal with Blushweaver shit, and then I don't have to deal with it.
Yeah,
'Cause
and
I feel like part of his reasoning was, I don't have to deal with it then. If she
yeah,
was
that's what I
mine.
was saying in the beginning. I was like, she's just giving him all the like,
Based on his
he's giving her all the
personality.
yeah. And it sort of worked out with like how he's displaying himself.
Hmm.
Um, but I'm also like, who if Blushweaver and Lightsong do clash, who would hold out the longest? Because they're technically like comfortable with each other.
Blushweaver, obviously, based on her short conversation with Siri, has a lot of respect for Lightsong. We know. Like, I
Yeah,
think she
Mm-hmm.
specifically, before she called Siri a whore, um, or a slut or whatever she called
it
her,
was a split.
yeah. Before she says that, she specifically says, I think that Lightsong is like the best of the gods currently. Like she basically sees
Mm-hmm.
Lightsong like a Lightsong.com seer. It feels like to me.
Yeah,
So like
and then
she's put him up on like a really tall pedestal. So like I don't know if she would give in to him or not, because like she obviously has all these plans, but yeah, she also obviously has a lot of respect for him and how he
yeah,
handles things.
yeah. So it depends who would win, because it could be all or nothing here now that everything's set.
What do you think, Mythic, about
Also,
Darkness's thoughts?
I,
Oh,
I
go
I
ahead.
don't
mean,
I don't know. Even if Lightsong wins, I don't think he would want to use them, because that like wasn't his original intention.
I think Light Song is going to be the big bad evil.
Oh shit.
Yep.
Oh, I was gonna say that too because of, of what you said that you heard.
So, yes. Well, no, that's not what I was actually. I wasn't even going on that because like I barely heard anything of it. So like I'm not even. I didn't even speculate anything to it.
Yeah, he wouldn't have
Um.
heard anything important if he stopped at the word light
Yeah.
song.
Yeah. Light Song. Like as soon as it came up, I was like, oh shit. And really, my mind had picked up on that it said chapter 45, and I was already in the process of clicking it off.
Hmm.
So like I really wasn't
Yeah.
listening at
All he really knows is
all.
just a light song
But
chapter.
yeah, it's a light song, 3 sentences.
Yes.
Of,
I don't care. Any
Yeah.
sort of word
But
would have set
but
me off.
I've been thinking about the fact that like when Denth was like shown as this you know uh, bad person all of a sudden,
Hmm.
it started making me think, okay, well, who is paying him? And
Yeah.
then I was like, what would be the like craziest thing to
if
happen?
if he's working for light song.
Exactly. If
Oh
Light
damn.
Song is actually not this like you know, carefree, I'm not a god kind of person, and he really is trying to create this war. And then Blushweaver is actually attempting to prevent it, and like that would be insane
Blushweaver
if
turns
that
out to
was
be the
possible.
hero all along, and Light Song's
Yeah.
actually the big villain.
Or the other one that I thought was that if it's still in the same Light Song being the big bad person, but Light Song doesn't even know that he's actually the one doing it. Kind of like we find out later with Ravenna being a pawn.
You think he's somehow being like manipulated into being the bad person?
Yeah, or something to that extent.
Who would be
Like
the
maybe not even
technically be the one in
manipulate.
charge then, Larmar?
Well, as I'm saying, not even manipulated, more of just like this whole because like this maybe changed my opinion on the whole dreams are actually prolific thing.
Mm,
Um and that he may have like just been um uh what was he actually might be bad. Like he might have been like a crime boss is why he's able to do all this
mm,
looking into all this stuff and all of that. And like
Hmm.
all of a sudden now that's kind of coming through, but he doesn't even know.
I see.
Wait,
Yeah.
what if like, what if like he was Aegean, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Moved on to where like Halangen is, lived in the slums, and that's why he can juggle because he was performing as an entertainer.
Oh, you think he was like he was doing? Because I think that Vanna does say like people like kind of performing and like knowing how to be like on the busy streets do better at begging. Maybe he begged using
Yeah,
juggling.
yeah. And
Possibly.
what if he like slowly climbed up to like up the ranks like that, and that's why he knows how
Hmm.
to do all that stuff.
Mm.
Slumlord Light Song?
I mean, yeah.
That'd be great. That'd be a good theory.
Yeah. I
Could
mean,
be.
I definitely feel like it could be pliable or viable.
Hey, you're the one
With
messing
that,
up words. It's not me.
I know, right? I feel like it would be a viable option because, like I said, we've had so many twists that have happened so far
Yeah.
that like it wouldn't be so far fetched.
Yeah. Okay, that's my theory. Anyway,
Yeah. All right. I'm
That's
gonna
just a
move.
theory, a game
A
theory.
book theory.
oh,
It's a book theory, not a game theory. So yeah, chapter 43. We're back with Vivenna. She awakes alive and with Vasher and Nightblood. She's been bathed and dressed in sleeping garments. Her hair has been detangled, and she asks if Vasher raped her. And he says he has no
Oh
interest
my
in
god.
someone who has been in Dent's bed. And she
Mm-mm.
says she wasn't with Dent. Vasher then asks if Dent had her fooled, which Vivenna confirms, and he calls her an idiot, which she also agrees with. Basher then says he had the woman who ran the building bathe and dress her, which is kind of nice. Are you surprised that Basher took such good care of Vivenna while she was sleeping and sick?
Nope, not at
nah.
all. That's just a
He's
good
the
guy.
he's the most gentleman like person ever. No,
Well, the only reason I say he's a good guy is because of the whole Nightblood being against evil people. So
Mm-hmm.
and he doesn't seem to affect Vasher that much. So
I just
Yeah.
like him because he doesn't like that. So
He's like
well,
the opposite of
yeah,
Dent. He like comes off as the bad guy, hates talking to
yeah.
people, works on his own, but is
that
actually a good guy. Dent is like super charismatic. Everyone thinks he's a great guy. He works in a team, but he's actually a bad guy.
I was gonna say when he talks about being like
Yeah, when he talks later
Loki,
about it.
Yeah.
yeah, he
Uh,
talks about being Loki antisocial. I was like,
He's like,
okay,
please
yes,
stop
me
talking to
too.
me.
Yes, me too.
He's like, I hate this. Please stop talking. I don't want to talk to you. I love that. But anyways, so Vivenna thanks Vasher for saving her, and Vasher explains that she has traumeria, a disease that is spread through insect bites and gives someone dizziness, dementia, and hunger. He also says she deserved it, and she slept a week. So yeah, did you expect that Vivenna had gotten sick, or do you think her issues with memory and excessive exhaustion was just due to hunger and being drab?
Hunger and drab is what I thought, but
I I
it
think
doesn't
it was
shock
just
me she
her.
got sick.
What did you
I
say,
think it
Darkness?
was. I thought it was just her like still working out like her emotional turmoil and like the
You thought maybe she was like
like
in shock or like PTSD or
yeah
something.
yeah I think she was like in constant just shock this whole time.
Yeah. I remember when I first read the book, like I was like, why? Like, because when they explained that she had only been there for like a week or something, I was like, why is she like gone down? Like, it felt like she went gone downhill so fast, but like I felt like it made a lot more sense that like, yeah, she had like basically like dementia and shit, but and that's why
Dementia
she.
was yeah.
The dementia part was like, oh shit.
Yeah. When she made the comment of because before Vasher picked her up and all that, she made a comment about how she knew it was important, but she couldn't remember why it was important
Yeah, the
with the
shawl.
Shaw, and I was like, does she have like dementia? Like, how do you just forget that you put breath in this? Unless
Yeah.
it's like a side effect of being a drab, is the other thought I had. That
Yeah.
maybe like because she's a drab, it was like she couldn't remember that she had given her breath. I was like,
Yeah,
but
it
that
was. It
doesn't make
was.
sense because
Yeah. It.
Jules remembers
That's
shit.
what I was thinking. I was like, it can't be anything about like job related,
Yeah, no,
because
it's a
Jules seems
very
fine.
few couple weird chapters until yeah, you kind of get the explanation and you're like, oh shit, that makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah.
um, so yeah, her like mind fogginess and like forgetting things was all about the that sort of stuff. Yeah, so Vasher then asks about her breasts, and after lying that she gave them to Denth, she admits that she put them into the shawl she was wearing. Vasher leaves the room for a moment, and she begins eating the food on Vasher's plate. She like as soon as he leaves, she's like, food.
She's like,
um,
fuck it, even if it's fish, I'm eating this shit.
yeah, so he returns with her shawl, which is cleaned. Vasher then confirms that only Vivenna can take the breath out of the shawl. So we now have confirmation only the person who puts breaths into an object can take them back out. Do you think this is completely true, or that people just don't know how to do that yet?
I think I think the wording that they use makes it so people think that it's only like that, but there's definitely a different command they can use to extract breath
Yeah.
unwillingly.
And we do learn later that Vasher says like they don't know a lot about awakening still. Like there's like probably thousands,
Yeah.
if not millions of commands they don't know yet. So yeah, for
What
all
if
we know, like there could be a way he just doesn't know, or like anyone doesn't really know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But as far as he says, is that she is the only one who could have gotten the breath out of that. Which I think you got. The reason I know that was because I think you guys had asked questions about that previously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you could take breath from an item, like if so, I could give an item, like I could put breath in a coin, like a single breath in a
Yeah, and
coin,
then
and
give
then
it to
be like,
someone
here you
else.
go. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Because I feel like it would have been a really nice like. I feel like it would have fit with Vivenna and like her kind of Idrian and Oster stuff if she had like gone around like yeah, putting a single breath into a coin and then like every drab she found just like here's a single breath, like giving it to them. I feel like that'd be something she would have done potentially.
You know what's crazy? I don't even see this as Vivenna anymore.
She's a very
Oh yeah,
different
no, she's
person.
definitely different. Yeah.
She's had a
I like
big
later.
growth.
Yeah, I like later when when they're when Siri's talking to Susabran about it, and she's talking about all of her family members, and she
Yeah,
gets to Vivenna, and the way she's talking, I'm like, nope, that's not how Vivenna is
I
now.
know. She's yeah. If slash when they meet, she's gonna be so shocked. Like, cause yeah, she keeps talking about Vivenna. Like, oh, Vivenna would do this. Vivenna would have been better at that. This and that. Is it that? It's like Vivenna's changed. Vivenna is like she's not even gonna recognize her. Like, Siri's not even gonna recognize her sister.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of hoping what's gonna happen is that Siri is gonna get to a position of being like a lot more uh, royal in standing,
Mm-hmm.
and like a little more backbone, um,
I think
because
she's
she
going
is.
that way.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And
Yeah.
but like I feel like she's gonna get to that point where she's just much more about that part, and she's
Mm-hmm.
gonna be a lot stronger in that sense. And then she's gonna see Vivenna, and Vivenna is gonna actually be like kind of like Vasher. I'm hoping a better Vasher, but like kind of like Vasher.
Slightly more talkative Basher.
Yeah, like a more charismatic Basher. Like but like a warrior. She's gonna be holding Nightblood, and she's gonna be a warrior. Like
Mm-hmm.
because it would honestly, in my opinion, would be like the polar opposites of how they both started.
Yeah,
Because in
basically
my
they're
opinion,
becoming more like each other. I feel like Ceres has
yeah,
slightly less change than Vivenna. Like she just seems
mm,
to be becoming a more confident version of herself, in my opinion. Whereas Vivenna's like almost a completely different person. Like she's
yeah.
completely broken out of her shell. And she's
I
like,
mean, the
she's
way I
so
saw
different.
it in the beginning, though, in the very beginning, the way I saw it was that Syria was a lot like Meredith from Brave, where
Mm.
like she would go out and she'd do her own thing. She didn't really care for the whole political side of life. She
Yeah.
only wanted to do what she wanted to do,
Yeah.
and then she got thrown into the politics. And unlike Meredith, she didn't actually fight it as much as she should have. And then now she's becoming more political standing, where Vivenna was more political and didn't really have a life outside of that. And then because she was also thrown into the fact that she didn't have to do that anymore, she kind of lost her way and then had to learn a new place. And when she found her new place, it's a lot stronger, in my opinion, than what she was. Um,
Yeah.
I want to see what happened. I don't know. I doubt it'll actually happen, but I would love to know what their father thinks of them in the end of the book.
Yeah, it would
Um,
be interesting
I
if
was,
we got his opinion of them.
yeah, like who they have become, and I still
I,
want to meet Ridger.
What are you gonna say,
oh
Darkness?
yeah, I was gonna say, I wonder how their own people are gonna like take them in if they like go back, you know?
Well, I mean, best
Because
case
there's like,
scenario, I mean, Ciri would obviously stay as queen, probably Palantir. I don't know if she would ever go back home. 'Cause if Susebron and her
I
kind
don't
of
think she
like
should.
stay together and everything, like, and like he,
Yeah, her dad's a dick. I don't think she should.
I don't. Also, just on that vein, like, do you think Vivenna would be happy just going back home and living with her dad?
she could also, she,
Well,
but I mean, like, what would they do? Would they like slaughter her for being an awakener?
yeah,
I
exactly right.
don't.
But
I feel like
here's
out
the
of
thing, though, right?
everything, that's one thing that the dad wouldn't do. He
She,
even in his
the
worst, like he
dad,
seems to favor her a lot.
the dad literally sent one of his daughters to die.
Yeah,
He's also
I
sent like
mean,
a
if he's
fuck ton
been,
of men to
yeah,
try and find Vivenna.
to get her specifically, to get Vivenna specifically.
Yeah, he's
Do you
specific.
think he would have? Do you think he would have sent them knowing what she's doing now, though?
I don't. He
Um,
apparently knew about the Lemex getting breaths and stuff, and he was fine with that. He paid for some of them.
apparently,
Yeah, but that's not his blood, though.
I don't know. I have a sneaking suspicion that that also wasn't like. I mean, she said it was his handwriting, but like, I don't know. It just doesn't
It
seem
could have been falsified, yeah.
seems yeah. It seems coerced almost.
Because not even just that, they went to that one dude that was like doing like that they were gonna do used to like make a fake letter or whatever. I don't remember the
Yeah,
name. Yeah, so they could have just done that.
that's true. They could
but
have gone to those contacts because
yeah.
that was dense contacts that they went to. I think for that fake letter.
Here's a red wire. Here's a red wire
Oh,
for you. Uh, what if what if uh Siri actually finds out later? Siri and Vivenna find out later that uh wow, I can't. Elandrin, Elandrin,
yeah, Halandrin.
words. Okay, thank you. Is actually terrible, and they side with Halandrin to fight their own home country.
So you think that Adrian is actually like the like
The
I
bad
mean,
guys.
we kind of, I don't know. I when Vasher's talking to her here later, he kind of, in my opinion, hints that they might not be as uh squeaky clean in this as everybody seems to believe. I'd have to go back to what the passage
We'll,
was, but
we'll
I
we'll get
was
to that later.
pretty sure
Yeah,
that
he
was the
he
point.
talks a little
Yeah.
bit about when they meet up with people later, but
Hmm.
we'll get to that later if you want to discuss it then.
That's fine.
Yeah. But then, yeah, so Vivenna then admits that she guessed the command to free herself from the ropes when tied up and says it was the first time she had used breath. Which I think he was like, oh, what the fuck was that, Mythic?
Oh, I don't know.
There was like a fucking.
Oh, did my thing go down and come back up?
There was an image that showed up of some anime girl.
My background. Oh, my background. Yeah, my background went down and came up. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
I was like, what?
I was like, what the fuck?
I was like,
Any,
did the camera turn on?
How did I do that?
I don't know. Anyways, um, threw me off so much. So I believe he's like, oh yeah, you're Idriad, right? You wouldn't be using awakening powers even if you had the breath. So yeah, then he get. Can you not do that?
Okay, yeah, okay. I figured out how I did it. Okay.
Okay,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
let's not do that. He then gives her the command to get her breaths out of the shawl. Vanagan gets her breath back after repeating your breath to mine. Her sickness is gone as well, and Vasher says she'll barely even age if she hangs on to the breath. Vasher then tells her it's time to go and hands her thick trousers, a tunic, and a vest in various shades of blue, as well as undergarments. She mentions that they are man's clothing, but stops complaining after remembering how she'd just been running around in just her shift. Vasher says that he has worked for her and wants to block Dent's plans. He also states that Halandrin isn't her enemy and that Dent has been hired by someone to start a war between Idris and Halandrin, and used Vivenna to make that happen. Vasher is trying to figure out who's behind it and why they want this war. Vasher then states he intends to try and undo the damage she has done. So, do you think Vasher is right in that Halandrin isn't the enemy, and who do you think the real enemy is?
Huh.
I mean, I kind of think it's Elandrin, but and like I don't know, we haven't gotten there exactly
You
yet,
think
so
you mean
I'll
Idris?
speak
You
more
think?
on why.
You
Yes,
mean
Idris.
Idris.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes. The words. Yes. Yeah. I think Idris is. I don't know about evil, but maybe not as squeaky clean as it seemed in the beginning.
Well, we do know at least the Idrian royalty are like, unless there's someone working behind the scenes and they just really don't want the war because they're gonna get fucking steamrolled by Halandrin with their lifeless. But he also says Halandrin potentially isn't the enemy. At least not the country. Like I guess if neither of the countries are the bad guys, there could still be factions within either country that are potentially the bad guy.
But yeah, I mean that's the same in real life in general, though. Like America's not the bad guy, but sometimes we do things that could seem very evil to other people. Same with like, in my opinion, and this is going to sound very controversial, but Russia is not a bad guy because they want to do what they want to do. Everybody has a set thing in their head that's like good. Everybody's going to be good in their own minds. So like, of course they're not bad, but I still feel like that king is an evil bastard and I don't like him. So I wouldn't be shocked if he was actually evil.
Hmm.
Maybe not Denth evil, but evil. So
What do you think, Darkness? Who do you think the real enemy is?
What if, like, after all, people like are just skimming over these people, right?
the heck is
So,
that?
Okay,
what
there's
if
a
it's
car alarm and Darkness is back.
Caroline? Yeah, I can't really control that.
That's okay.
I was
Tell him to shut
hold
up.
on, give me a second.
If Darkness
Okay,
is out.
so what if like, what if it's actually like the Pancall people?
You think Pankal might be the bad guys?
You never know, because we really didn't know about that. So
Oh my god, that would be a twist to end all twists. I want the pawn call women to be my handmaidens. And then all of a
exactly, we
sudden
already
they're
had one betrayal. So
evil. They're
yep,
evil. Oh my god.
And that mean Bluefingers
Really,
is
it's
evil?
Bluefingers. Yeah, really, Bluefingers is the evil person all along.
that's giving me so many wild ideas because I
I
didn't
don't
think
know.
about that until now.
Yeah, I
But
don't know. I went back to read a little bit on because in this chapter, Vasher makes a comment that Denth never technically lied to her, and I was like, "You're not wrong. He didn't. Numerously times said he was a bad person. He numerously told her that like mercenaries will work for money. He's putting her in these situations, in my opinion. Even when he stated the originally of, oh, we could, attack um the lifeless or whatever, and stop them from having so many lifeless. And I'm like, that would still create strife. That would still create issue, and then they would really want to attack you.
Yeah, if like someone's attacking your like military barracks, like
Yeah, you would be retaliating, and I'm pretty sure I said it before, like that. I thought it was a bad idea
yep.
because if you don't want a war, you don't want to provoke a war,
Yeah,
and then
he admitted a lot of
unless
stuff, but he never outright, I don't think, lied.
unless you're not one of the main targets.
Exactly, which Vasher or not Vasher, but Denth is not technically a main target.
Well, I think Darkness is getting at that Pankal isn't like the main
Yes.
target. They would obviously
But
assume
yeah,
it's
oh, yeah,
Idrians.
Yeah. I mean that would make sense. Though Bluefingers did talk to, but if you actually didn't Bluefingers talk to Vasher?
No, it was a different priest that talked to
Oh
Vasher.
no! Oh yeah. It was the other priest
It was
recommended him to talk to
the guy
Bluefingers.
with the N name that switched his opinion suddenly at
Mm-hmm.
the audience thing later. He was like
Yeah, what
very
does Bluefingers talk
anti-war,
to
but
him?
I think he told Vasher to go to Mercy Star's Palestine. He's like, "Oh, these people, my god isn't very like influential, but and stuff like that. You
Mm-hmm.
should look into these other gods instead."
Who was his god? Did we figure that out?
I believe it might have been one of the gods that Lightsong played that complicated game with, but I don't remember exactly which one. I'd have to search.
Gotcha. I mean, I can Google it if you want.
No, it's okay. I can. What was his name? Nanruva,
Namprabal?
High Priestess Stillmark. Yeah, Stillmark was one of the people who was playing that game. It was
Mm,
Nanruva and High Priestess Stillmark.
gotcha.
So yeah, that was who he was talking to, I believe.
Nobody influential, of course. All they do is play games all the time.
Actually, was
Now
that
that
who wait,
I keep,
was that who he was talking to? Wait.
I don't.
No, I
I
think he
don't
was
know.
talking
I
to
mean, it
some of the
was
beam.
early on.
Where's that Vasher chapter? Now I gotta find this note. So, no Vasher.
Yay!
No, he was
I can
talking to
make. I can make.
Bebid. Bebid.
Bevan.
I don't.
Just Google it.
He
Who is?
Bebid represents Bright Vision the True, who we have not met.
Got it.
Imagine it's like that one buff god that we never got an explanation.
Yeah, that would be cool.
It might be.
I was saying, I keep thinking about this theory with Pankar, right? And it's
Yeah.
like bothering me because
It might work. Yeah.
it can work so well
Yeah.
because why are they there? You know,
Well,
they
I think
wouldn't be there
they.
necessarily if they didn't have like a bigger role.
Well, I mean, not necessarily, because like they do state a lot that Hallandren is like a basically like uh almost like a paradise to most people. So
I
like,
mean, there's a lot of immigrants. I mean, when we first get to the city, there's like a bunch of different countries that get
mhm.
named, that never come up again. I
Yeah,
believe
so
there's
it could
like a
be any
country
of
where like the
those.
men have braided beards a lot of the time.
Ooh,
I should try that.
braiding your
um,
beard.
Hell yeah!
can't imagine darkness with a beard.
I can imagine
You've
darkness with a
seen
beard.
what I look like.
Have I?
We traded pictures.
I don't remember this.
I mean, she doesn't even know you have her picture. All right, darkness.
No, I would never.
But anyways, yeah, I think there was multiple countries mentioned, but I think Pankal and Idris are the closest to Halandrin. I think Pankal is the one that's mentioned that by Hoyt as being like the first people that were in the Halandrin region, I believe, along with like the cities of Huth and Kuth. Um,
Kuth and Kuth.
yeah. The Pankal people had like little tribal villages, I believe, when like that first return showed up on that boat who became the first god. I don't think he was technically even the first god king. He was like this first return that then like started Halandrin or something. They had like that boat. Remember Hoyd's whole story with that? Like,
Mm-hmm.
he was like the one who birthed like the royal family technically with his wife. So Pankel's mentioned there. So they're like from the region. So they're like a neighboring country. I think all the other ones are from like across the sea.
Hence why it would be perfect for them to create a war, and they could sneak in while the war's happening.
Who knows?
Well,
But
you
like,
know, we already know.
I
You
might,
know,
yeah,
okay?
but
I know who the
think
real bad guy is.
think about
So
it
there is
too.
a real bad guy. We got it. We got it out of her.
And apparently, it's not the people that we think because she said it's the
Exactly.
real bad guy.
I'm just
Uh-huh.
saying I know who
Yeah.
the true villain
We
is.
got
I'm
this,
not saying
darkness.
if
Darkness.
you
The true
theorize
villain.
about it.
Our red wires. Our red wires are
Yup.
going.
I,
Darkness. You got this.
I have not confirmed or denied any of the possible options. I'm just saying
Also,
I know who the true one is.
The
if you
one
think
true
about it,
one.
there are so many like different countries and like people that have immigrated there. Why are there more Pankal like people mentioned in that position.
Well, as I said, I think it's partially because they're a neighboring country.
Possibly.
Mm,
Or she's trying to steer us away from the
away from
truth,
that,
you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Real villain is Midnight. We got this.
I am the real
Like the
villain.
suns from the heavens.
Mhm.
I am Oster.
Oh my
What if
god.
Oster is like
Oster's the real villain.
Oscar the villain. She's gonna come
that's
down
what I
from
thought for like
wherever.
a split second. I'm like, nah.
Uh, but anyways, so we then skip to Vivenna and Vasher walking together. Vivenna keeping her head down and noticing a girl in the streets that is in a similar position that Vivenna had just been, but seems more capable. Vivenna whispers to Vasher that Denth had made her think the war was inevitable, and her father had believed the war. Uh, Made her think the war was inevitable, and her father had also believed the war was inevitable. Vasher says they're wrong, and war has been close for decades, but getting the kingdom to attack requires the return to stop focusing on themselves and start a war. Venice says she's bad at everything, and Basher says Denth had been working on this for a while, and even corrupted the Idrian ambassador. Basher's theories on who is behind this are either a god, a cabal of gods, or a group of priests working on their own. When Vivenna asks why Basher is involved, he tells her he doesn't enjoy talking with people. So what are your thoughts on Vasher's theories? Because he thinks it's either one of the gods, a group of them, or a group of priests. So he doesn't seem to think it's the Pound Call people.
Well, maybe he's not seeing the bigger picture.
Which means they're doing a very good job of
Yeah,
hiding who they're
exactly.
really, trying to target.
It's like a bunch of
I
music
mean,
in your background, Darkness.
I mean,
I
I don't.
know.
It's
I
like,
mean, as great as I feel like that theory is, Sarkness, I don't believe that's going to be the end result, but it could be. I still am on the whole. I think it could be like Song being the very, that bad guy at the end,
mm.
but and that would just make me like him even more.
Can you still hear it?
No, can't anymore.
Okay, good.
No, wait, Darkness, are you talking? I can't hear you.
I can hear Darkness just fine.
Damn.
Also, why do you think Vasher is so involved in trying to stop the war? Like, what do you think his motivations for that is?
Maybe he's really scared. Okay. Just nobody wanted to even
I,
consider it. You know?
I thought you were gonna elaborate. I don't know.
No, he's just scared. He doesn't want to
I
work.
mean,
He's scared.
I don't know. The way he talks about, man, that's a little bit later, but the way he talks about the group of Vasher and all them, or not Vasher, sorry, Denth
Denth.
and all them, yeah, it, like to me makes me feel like he knows a little bit about like that Denth, because Denth's probably been playing this for a while.
I mean, he
Um,
says he's been planning it for a while. Yeah.
yeah, so like he's probably knows kind of where Denth is trying to go down. Like he's trying to probably figure it out, the path that Denth is trying to go down, and he might be in with kind of like with what Darkness said, scared of the path that Denth wants it to go down. So he's trying to
Mm.
divert that path as much as possible. Um, I don't, I don't know if he might just be Idrian, and we all don't know that yet.
Yeah, we
He
don't.
might just like not want war because it's gonna affect innocent people, and he doesn't seem to like
Hmm.
hurting innocent people. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he does stop. He did stop his sword from hurting that one dude. So I mean, even though he died in the end, but
Yeah, he specifically like knocks people out, trying not to
hmm
kill people all the time if they're not gonna just
he
like.
hasn't killed. He hasn't killed Vivenna.
He has not killed Vivenna, even though he said he wanted to a few times. He was like, God
Uh-huh.
damn it, I'm not
Uh-huh.
gonna kill her, I guess.
I
Hmm?
okay. What part are we on right now?
They were just about to go into the building to meet the Idrians.
Oh, I forgot to mention.
Mm.
I really like the part where he's like, "How did you get out of your like findings or whatever? Did he like awaken the ropes or something?" And then she goes on to explain that she guessed the
Yeah, he's like impressed that she like gets it, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you're Idrian. You wouldn't have like tried using them before."
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a interesting thing. But yeah, so they arrive at a rundown building, and Vasher knocks on the door with his sword and pushes into the building once the door opens a crack. They go into the cellar where a group of men are sitting at a table. They ask if Vasher wants something to drink, and he pulls Vivenna forward and tells her to use her hair. Several of the men bow their heads and call her princess. Vasher has Vivenna tell the men she doesn't want to go to war, and she says she thought it was inevitable and was manipulated. Vasher then sits with the men and asks them what they're going to do. The men argue back and forth with Vasher, saying they're treated terribly and maybe they should go to war. They say the women store food and the children go out searching the jungle for Khaled's phantoms. Vasher also says here that the lifeless that attacked Vivenna when she was visiting the slumlords were actually lifeless who had their commands broken and were sent with orders to kill, not by the government. Are you surprised the lifeless weren't sent by the government? Because I think you guys did have a few theories that potentially like Dent had used them. I think even before you found out like he was a bad guy, you thought maybe like he used them to try and get her to
Yep.
like learn awakening.
To awaken. Yep. Mm-hmm.
I did think that how do I say it? That they were like specifically targeted, but not necessarily by like the government, but like after finding out that Dent was bad, obviously I figured it was him, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I just like right now it's hitting me how it like how like how powerful they are actually.
Yeah, like
Dent
how
and the
much they
spirit.
planned and like got
Yeah,
everything together to
because
manipulate her.
that means that they don't just have one lifeless under their control.
Well, it specifically says they were government lifeless, but their commands got so they went in and like broke their commands, and then I
Yeah,
think they
that's
did
what
end
I'm
up
saying.
having to
Like,
kill all of those lifeless.
yeah, I'm saying like if they can do that, then they can do a lot more than we thought they
Yeah,
could.
I think also you had mentioned like you were surprised Tonkfa took down a few, and I think now that I'm
Hmm.
thinking, I don't think they ever say anything about it, but I'm wondering if that's how
Nope.
actually Tonkfa got out of that situation was by knowing their command phrases and saying them
Yep.
after Vivenna ran away.
Well, I'm pretty sure what I had said earlier or before was that when Vivenna ran away from Fa, he was surrounded by them, and
Yeah,
like it seemed as if he should have been done. It should have been like that was him dying, and then he just showed up later, and I was like, it just
yeah, you were
seemed really
suspicious of
fishy.
that.
Yeah, that seemed just really fishy to me. That's why
Yeah.
it made me think. That's what originally made me think that maybe they had sent them there to make Ravenna awaken
Mhm.
because he just shows up like unharmed.
Yeah, yeah. I
It
don't
didn't
think they
seem like
mentioned
he was
any
hurt at all.
injuries, which
Yeah,
is you'd think he'd at least have been injured in some way.
yeah. And then lo and behold, we come to find out that he's actually torturing his animals.
Yeah, I mean he's also potentially just way better with weapons than we would have thought because he's at least good at torturing. I don't know about like fighting, but kind of different
Yeah.
skills, I guess.
No.
Um, but yeah, so Vivenna listens to the conversation and she remembers that her initial plan uh, when she still was to become the God King's bride was to talk him out of war. She realizes that she had almost given up on saving her sister as well during her time here. Vivenna moves to the men and begs them to try to get people to listen to them. She says she can talk to her father and try to get him to help them. Vivenna says they'll be seen as heroes, and eventually the men say that they'll see what they can do. Considering what we know of Susebron, do you think Vivenna's original plan would have worked if she had become the queen instead?
I mean, I don't know. Honestly, I don't think she would have been able to. I think it was better that Siri went there because I feel like Siri is a lot better in that situation. I don't know if Avena would have actually been able to do so. I think her prejudice would have got the better of her.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah.
Um, I was gonna say I think the situations they're in right now is like sort of like a better outcome, but then I realized she's going through hell, so it's probably not good to say that.
Yeah, I
That's a
feel
better
But
outcome.
like I don't know. I feel like knowing because like this is obviously a hypothetical. We have no idea. Like even me knowing the end isn't going to change what I would think here. But like knowing who Vivenna was at the start and now knowing who the type of person Susebron is, like I think even if they wouldn't have had the connection maybe that Susebron and Siri had, I feel like Vivenna desperate to save her people probably like if her plan was to convince the God King to not go to war, like I feel like she may have tried to sneak and say stuff to him even told not to because like she was a very proper person, but she was proper in the ways of like this is my duty to my people and like what I was born to do basically. And I think like considering what we know of him, she probably would have been able to get something done, although I don't know if she'd be as good about like talking to the other gods and everything as Siri is, and I don't know if like as I said she wouldn't have had as good a connection potentially with the
I
God
don't
King.
I don't think she would. I don't think that would have mattered much or lasted that long, considering that she probably would have, done stuff.
Yeah, the thing
Yeah,
is, she
I
would have
feel like
gotten
she
By
would
force.
have.
pregnant for sure. Like she
Yeah,
would
I
have
definitely
actually
feel
gone
like
through
she
with
would have
it.
went in there and seduced him. Like, she wouldn't have been so lovey about it. She would have just been like, "This is my job. I have to have a baby." Then
Hmm.
that's what she would have done, which is not the way she should have went about it if she wants to save her kingdom. But
But
uh,
as I said, like she
better
doesn't
the way she's doing it.
know that potentially. Like, yeah, we
Yeah,
don't
no,
we don't know
Or she
100% what her
or she
plan
could have
is.
tried killing him.
I don't know about that. I feel like she's smart enough to know that that wouldn't really help the situation.
Yeah, because I think like her whole point is that like she learned all about like all this stuff from her tutors, like all this like politics and government etiquette and all these different things, specifically so that she could do something while in the
Hmm.
court of gods.
Well, technically they all learned that though. Well, mostly because we
Well, I
know
mean,
Siri.
Siri
Well,
didn't.
they
We
had
know
I don't know.
Siri got.
tutors. I don't know if like I'm pretty sure they described like especially in the beginning Vivenna saying like she had specifically been taught like her whole life stuff so that she could do something in the court of gods when she became the God
Yeah,
King's
like
bride to protect
they had never
Idris.
planned. Nobody planned until way too late that Siri was the one that was going here.
Yeah, like Siri was supposed to have lessons on a bunch of stuff, but I don't think they probably would have been as in depth or as insistent on them as they would have been with Vivenna. Because like as they said, like Fafin was the second choice basically if something happened to Vivenna. Like Siri was the third child, so she was kind of allowed to get away with not doing much. So Fafin probably had more tutoring than Siri, but Siri, who was like very against the tutoring as well, I think they kind of just gave up on her after a while.
Sounds like my old high school.
um, but yeah, so Vasher and Vivenna then leave, and Vasher says he wants her to meet someone else. She asks if she's a prisoner, and he eventually says she can go back to Idris. She says she still thinks of Dent as a friend and is struggling to come to terms with the facts of what he did. Vasher says Dent is charismatic, unlike him, but he won't lie to her. Vivenna eventually says she will help as long as it's only telling people she wants to keep Idris from harm. As the chapter ends, Vivenna notes that she hopes she is on the right side this time. Do you think Vivenna is on the right side this time?
Yes, I think Vasher's a good person.
I mean, he hasn't killed her yet.
Well, I mean, neither did Dent.
Yeah, but you know,
I mean, Dent needed her alive.
Yeah, I mean, but then attempted to. I don't know. I don't think he was really trying to kill her at the end either. But
No, I
and
think he wanted to take her breath away so that she couldn't do anything.
I was gonna say, and to be fair, like she, she got her breath back from Basher, so
yeah, Vasher did teach her how to get her breath back. That's for sure.
yeah, probably on the better note with Basher.
Yeah, so we then go into chapter 44, which is the final chapter you guys read,
Mm-hmm.
which is a Ciri point of view chapter.
Mm-hmm.
And she notes that it has become a tradition to order food every night after Ciri did her little act of jumping on the bed. Susebron is noted to have a sweet tooth, as he notes to Ciri that he can't gain weight even if he only eats sweets. Ciri notes that she needs to corrupt Susebron more as he's too obedient. Susebron then admits that he spoke to his priests and said he was worried about having a child and asked about his father dying after having a child. Susebron admits that Ciri might be right as they gave him vague answers and his guards and awakeners have been staying closer lately. Ciri notes that she has had 3 storytellers other than Hoyd come by, but none offered new information. Are you surprised that Susebron tried to speak to his priests?
No, not at all.
I think we came to the conclusion that he was gonna try it regardless.
Yeah,
Even Ciri's like, I can't really be mad. I told him to be more independent. And like,
I told him to be spontaneous. Yeah,
yeah, I told him to be less obedient and stuff, and then he's less obedient, so I can't really say anything.
exactly.
And then what do you
You
think?
know what?
Hmm? Go ahead.
Uh,
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, you know what would be crazy though?
What?
Like, what if like it slowly starts scaling up, right? And he comes in like every few nights, like, oh, I did this new thing to try and get the priest's attention, like try and like figure out stuff. And then one night it's just like a different God King that comes in,
Oh my gosh.
like a different
Well,
person.
I mean, we haven't gotten there yet. We'll get there, but
Oh.
and then I can talk about what I want to talk about.
All right, we'll
Oh,
get to that
yeah.
later then, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so what do you think it means that the guards and awakeners are staying close to Susebron lately?
They're going to
Hmm.
kill him. No, I don't think that's what it is. I think they're being more protective, uh, because they believe that they're actually doing things. So they're probably gonna have a kid soon, hopefully.
I think they're weary that he's like developing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when you have relations with people, you tend to develop a little faster, right?
I meant I meant like contacting them for his like specific questions and stuff. Because I doubt he's done like he's like
Yeah, I mean,
how do you say it?
if I remember correctly, he had only asked about how his dad died,
Yeah, he said,
and
I think
then
all
it
he
gave
said
him
to his
that
priest was
despair.
that he was scared about having a kid, and he was
Yeah,
worried about the fact that his dad died right after having a kid, basically.
and they basically were like, "No, you'll be fine." Yeah,
Like, oh, don't worry, there were reasons he died. It just was coincidence, and
Yeah, but it was like it's been like 50 years and like you know like how is he gonna ask that now and like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
be able to ask it
Well,
specifically
I mean,
because
he's asking now because of the situation. So, like,
yeah.
any rational person, right? Even if he wasn't being corrupted by Siri, any rational person would see, could possibly connect the dots of, well, when my
baby.
dad had me, or when my dad had me, he died shortly after I was born. Is
Hmm.
that going to happen to me if I have a child? Like, especially
Yeah.
with a kid, with a childlike mind, you're going to start putting these conclusions together. Like, that
Yeah,
might be the reason. So,
but you don't get it because like he wasn't able to ask.
Well, he says
well,
they did
yeah, he
teach him how
was.
to speak in the artisan script. He specifically is
Yeah.
asking them in the artisan script, which is the only way he's been able to communicate apparently with his priest previously.
Yeah, and I mean, he said he has spoken to them before with that. So,
Yeah. So
oh,
the artisan script is only known by like really like high class people, and I think he's watched enough that he would never be able to use it with someone other than his priest. So that like the artisan script and like hand gestures are basically the only way he's been able to communicate. He only talks to
Okay,
his servants through hand gestures based on what we've seen for him asking for food, and then he talks to his
hmm
priest through artisan script.
yeah.
okay, that
I
makes
don't.
more sense.
Yeah, I don't think him talking to his priest generally would be the concern. I think they're concerned in general. I don't think you know. Uh,
You
good.
I mean, they
no,
may
I
be
was
concerned
just
about him asking questions, but it's not the fact that he's directly communicating with them, I don't think.
yeah,
Hmm.
I was gonna say you really think like they would have to protect him instead of like Siri though?
No, because later when we figure out something, or when the assumption is made later, uh,
Which I think is like my next little paragraph
yeah,
here.
exactly. It, they don't need Siri at all.
Yeah.
They need Siri as a placeholder, and as long as she's not pregnant, they can keep that up, or
Yeah.
that she can keep up what she's doing. Once she becomes pregnant, this is gonna go real fast. Like she's gonna, she probably won't even have to get to,
Full
uh,
term.
yeah, like they could probably just off her while
I
she's in,
forgot that that's the
yeah,
theory that would
Yeah,
be
so
yeah.
let me as we're talking about this quickly go into that
that's what
paragraph.
scared
So
me.
they discuss how the God King and his family made us be vessels for the breath and not really matter. They come to the conclusion that the God King isn't the true son of the previous one, and that the reason that the priests are so urgent in having Siri become pregnant is because they already have a returned baby. So my question here was going to be, do you agree with their theory? But it kind of sounds like
Yes,
you do.
I do, and I feel like what's the worst part about it, in my opinion, is that Siri has not connected enough of the dots together that I seem to have, and I could be completely, red wire this right now, but like she's not needed as much as she is. If once she becomes pregnant, legitimately pregnant, and like people around the city know
Can
this
see it.
all of a sudden,
Yeah.
yeah, they don't have. They could just be like, "Oh, she's bedridden now." Off her and then have another child and be like, there could be many a story that you could do. You could be like, oh, your mother died in childbirth, giving birth to you, stuff like that. There's so many things they could say
That's
that
Hmm.
they
gonna
could spin a
suck.
tale.
Cause,
And
'cause
so her whole thing of like, I'm gonna be much more like what's the word? Like stubborn about like how I'm going to talk to
Tough.
people,
Yeah.
and I'm going to be much more royal in the standing. Uh, Goes out the window the moment she is like shown to the world as being pregnant,
And the thing
and
is, like,
that's the
just
worst part.
stuff I know about pregnancy is like there's some women who show more than others. So even if she's
Hmm.
not showing very much and she's just showing a little bit, they can be like, oh, doctors have said though that she's actually this far along, not like
Yeah.
as little as she is. Like I think you start showing it like 2 or 3 months, and like, oh, she's actually
Yep.
4 or 5 months along, not 2 or 3, even though
Yeah,
she's like
and then
not
they can have the
very
kid in.
pregnant looking.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't know how long have we figured out how long they've been here? Like a couple months now, right?
It's been at least probably God, I think it's gotta have been at least minimum 2, if not 3 or 4 months.
Okay, so like let's say 2 months. Like okay, well they had sex the first day. All right, she immediately became pregnant, so she's already 2 months along, kind of a day. You know what I'm saying? Like they could
Yeah.
already do that stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, as soon as she basically starts showing, which even if like
Hmm.
she just gets pregnant, like 2 months later, as I said, like if she's
Yep,
been there already for 3 months and then she gets
they'll say
like
it. Yeah.
5 months in, she's like starts showing. They can be like, oh, she's actually 4 months in. Like it took maybe a month, but she's already four
Yep.
months in now.
Exactly. Yeah.
They can speed it up if what you're saying is correct, and they just offer
Yeah.
us and like, or and they can even say like, oh, she gave birth early. Like
Hmm.
people give birth, especially
It's
probably back
premature.
in
Yeah.
those times.
It's a premature baby.
Yeah,
So easily you could be like, oh yeah, she had birth. She birthed the new God King early. Like you know, there's so many things, and like I said, like I
there's a
don't
lot
think
of
she's
ways to
put it
speed it
together
up.
enough. Yeah, she's definitely not put enough of it together. If that's the theory that they're going to run with, which apparently Susabran seems to think it is the theory,
Yeah, he gets
very
kind of
heavily thinks
upset
it.
here. Yeah, he gets very sad
Upset?
here.
I feel like he gets depressed.
Yeah, he gets pretty depressed. He gets because
Oh my
mostly because
god.
like he thinks that his mother wasn't truly his mother, and he's like super
Yeah.
depressed by that. Because I was like, he's like, she's the one person who cared about me. She responds that like Siri's like, oh, even if she wasn't your mom, like she raised you, so she is your mom
So
no
she
matter
is your
what.
mom,
And
but
maybe she
that
even
doesn't
was
seem
your
to
real mother
help him.
because who better to take care of him? Because I don't
Yeah.
think because they didn't really have like this like fancy royal person as like the wife of the God Kings previously, right? So like it was just some random woman. And so like they could bring in anyone. So like her theory of
Yeah.
like, oh, it could have been your real mom is possible as far as we know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's if she doesn't speak up. I guess if she never spoke up enough, yeah, they could have kept her around. But if she put the things together, they probably wouldn't have kept her around very long.
The thing is though, if she was just like some random woman, like you would do any she's like, I'll do anything to stay with my baby for as long as possible. Like I
Hmm.
don't care
Yeah.
if you have all these weird plans behind you, like I'll stay quiet, I don't care.
Yep.
Right?
Exactly. Like if she was legitimately his mother, yeah.
Yeah. Because imagine like giving birth your baby like dies, I guess, in childbirth or like very young, and then like your baby becomes returned. You're like, I have a second chance with my baby.
Yep.
Because like at that point, like they're not like really losing memories because they're so young that they didn't really have any to begin with, so they're basically gonna be the same person.
Yep. I mean, that's seriously crazy to me. The
Uh,
newborn in general, a newborn awakener is, or not awakener, whatever.
Returned.
Return.
Yeah, returned is just insane to me. And
Yeah.
Siri touches on it later too about the same
Yep.
idea that I had of like if you're gonna state returned, come back for a specific reason of being like that they died in a heroic way.
Yeah, right. What
How
did the
does a
baby do?
baby die heroically? And
Right.
I'm pretty sure I said it before too. I'm pretty sure I made a comment about like that doesn't make sense because like how do you bring back a child like unless you are bringing back the child?
The baby somehow died to protect its mother. It somehow knew while being
Like,
birthed that if it died, it would save its mom's life. I don't fucking know.
like that's it's just insane. And I mean,
Yeah.
like I said, Siri kind of puts that one together later, and it is pretty awesome that she at least thought about that. But
Yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah, so then where are we? Susper then asks Siri to talk about her family. So we go into her family bit.
yep,
She mentions her father, who was often frustrated with her but loved her.
mm,
Ridger,
sure
she
did.
Ridger, she apparently always got into trouble, but he stopped being corrupted by her when he got older and more into his duties. And apparently he's very kind-hearted, so that's really the first kind of information we get about Ridger besides his birth order and the fact that he's going to take over as the king eventually. um, Although I guess technically Vivenna still is first in line now that she's not the God King's wife, so who knows what'll happen with that.
You really think Vivanna is gonna take over?
I don't know. I'm just saying she's technically first in line.
I
uh,
mean, it would work. It would work with her promise she made to the other people. So.
yeah. And then Fafin the monk grows food for the needy and takes care of things that need to be done around the city, like pruning, washing, and painting. Apparently, they can stop if they want to. So, like, apparently you're allowed to just stop
That
being a
question.
monk.
Yeah.
Hmm?
I said, yeah, we had that question before.
Yeah.
Like whether you could stop it or not.
She doesn't think Vivenna hated the God King and says she's always calm and careful and perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, any new thoughts on Ciri's family, just from our little notes here from Ciri's point of view?
Yep. That Ridger is actually dead.
Oh shit!
Oh, damn.
I mean, all right. Here's the thing, right? Sent Ciri away. Vivenna decided I'm gonna go save Ciri. At least in the beginning of that. Why didn't Ridger think the same thing? Like, if he is so like he was so loving to Ciri,
Yeah, sounds like they
I'm
were really
wondering
close. I
what
think Ciri
he
even
would do.
says like
Yeah,
Susebron reminds her a lot of her brother.
yeah, which is kind of it kind of makes me wonder why he also didn't do like Vivanna and try to go save Ciri.
What if he
Um,
did, and then Death got him?
What if he was one of the guys 10th killed?
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like
Oh
that's what I was
shit!
thinking. Like, what if he was one of the people that Dent
If
killed?
that's
But,
if that's true, then the king is fucked.
The king's so
well,
fucked.
King's fucked anyways.
Boffin
All right,
becomes queen.
King
No
is
longer a
fucked
monk.
either way.
Queen Monk.
I
Queen
mean,
monk.
I'm hoping in the end Vivenna actually, because she's gonna become a badass, in my opinion, is going to take the throne from her father. But
Damn.
like, not maybe not forcefully, but
Yeah.
like, she is going to become the ruler of Idris.
She's gonna
Like,
stab him with knife.
Oh shit.
I mean,
She's gonna try
one
and
can
make him
only
hold
hope.
him, see if he's pure of heart or not.
Yeah, one can only hope.
That'd be
But
awesome.
yeah, she just tosses the sword in front of him in the throne, and he's like, oh, I must pick it up.
Him and Parlin's dad start fighting.
I'm evil. Yeah, all right.
Um, but yeah, so then
No, Parlin's dad can't be evil. He raised
Man,
Parlin.
this
Parlin's a
child's
good
dead.
boy. Ciri then mentions that she is worried because of what happened in Tetelier. Susebron says that his mother isn't the only one who has shown him kindness. Ciri has as well, and he kisses her. She notes that she's too hasty as she pulls off her shift and thinks that she's got to get better at controlling her impulses some other time.
As she's continuing.
As she undresses.
Oh God, I love it. I love that she was like, I have to control my impulses another time. I'm like,
Yeah.
what? You're about to make such a terrible mistake.
And I don't know if they've invented condoms or anything, and probably they wouldn't have access to any.
No. First off, if this is going by like the standard of like you not having weaponry, like guns and weaponry, it's probably gonna be like medieval Renaissance era.
Yep.
The only condom that they could possibly use was like a burlap sack.
I think they had like sheepskin condoms before, like
Yeah,
plastic
exactly,
and
which
stuff was
aren't
invented.
good. Which aren't good.
Better than nothing, but not great.
I could only imagine what that would feel like.
I don't want.
Oh,
I don't want to.
God,
I really
that
don't
was
want to.
terrible. Like they have no contraception, so if and the other one is that you're gonna start teaching Susabron about this stuff now, and I'm
He's gonna
sorry,
be like,
I'm a
yes, I
guy.
enjoy this.
Exactly. I
Fuck.
know men, they're gonna be like, oh shit, that felt good. I'm gonna fucking do it again. And he's a god king. He could easily be like, you're going to do this.
She's also the one who initiates this. She's also all like super into it.
Well,
I'm not
mean,
just worried
I don't
about
know.
his impulses.
He definitely didn't instigate any of that. All right.
Well, he
kissed
instigated
her
the kiss
because
and stuff.
he kissed her, but I don't think it would have gone anywhere past that.
Well, I think
'cause this
she
man
notes
don't
that
know anything
like
about
he hesitates or something because he doesn't know where to
Yep.
go from there.
Where to go from there. Exactly. So you could have just ended it right there. All right, it's a kiss. Boom, done. Nah. you want to keep going. Oh, I just take off my shit. I mean, he has seen you naked already,
Yeah,
so
he already has seen her naked.
yeah. I mean, he sat in the chair. He sat in the chair and watched you strip, and then just
Lay on
face
the
plant
Display.
into the yeah,
yeah, bow to the
face plant
floor.
into the ground. Like, oh god, I'm so glad she doesn't do that anymore.
Yeah.
She can.
Oh my god,
God.
man. Sub and dom here.
Oh God. I don't want to go
All
into
right,
that.
read
Anyways,
us the next one.
so chapter 45.
Oh yay, wonderful.
All
Oh wait,
right.
can I read it with you? One second.
Nope. I'm here. We're gonna go
Oh,
for
I
this.
can't.
Don't
I
don't
can't.
look at it.
Nope. Nope.
All
Okay,
right.
go
So
ahead.
that night, Lightsong dreamed of Tetelier burning, of the God King dead, and of soldiers in the streets, of Lifeless killing people in colorful clothing, and of a black sword. What are your thoughts on Lightsong's dream?
Can I read it now so that I can put it
Yeah,
in my head again?
yeah.
Okay.
So
Oh
so it
my
breaks
god.
down into Tetelier is burning, the God King is dead, and there's soldiers, and the Lifeless are killing people in colorful clothing. So not people in like brown clothing, not people in like white clothing,
Yeah.
and there's a
Okay.
black sword.
Hmm.
What are your thoughts?
Okay, so it says a black sword. It doesn't say person holding a black sword.
Nope, just of a black sword. I
You
feel
remember when Mythic was like, what if Lightsong is the real evil?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Kind of. I, I don't know. I feel like I said, lifeless killing people in colorful clothing. The
So it's very
thing
much implying
is,
that the Halandran people are being killed by Lifeless.
yes. But the
And
thing
also that
is,
this
right?
war is happening in Tetelier. The Halandran haven't
Hmm.
marched on Idris. There is a war happening within the city of Tetelier.
Yeah. So it kind of goes on my theory of that Light Song might be bad. But also to the same note, it I'm ruling out All Mother simply for the fact that I don't think she's evil, but could come to later that she actually is. Um, but so it's got to, in my opinion, it either has to be um, wow, what's her goddamn name? I can't even remember her.
Blushweaver?
Blushweaver?
Thank you. It has to either be Blushweaver or Lightsong that's going to be
That's what I was
evil
thinking.
enough to send Lifeless to kill people here. So the next thing is if I don't know. I don't think Blushweaver is evil.
I
I just
don't think
don't.
she would. I don't think
Yeah.
she would be capable of doing that.
Yeah. The way she even just the way she talked about Siri doesn't make me feel like she hates Halandran people.
W-
It
What
makes
was
me
his?
think she hates other people, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't
What?
think I definitely think it's Light Song. It's coming to that conclusion heavily.
Well, what was that one dude's name? Lightsong's priest.
Larimar?
Larmar.
Scoot. Yeah, Larmer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Scoot.
So was he there like all the times that he was getting the commands?
I don't know if Larimar was with Lightsong. I think Allmother pulled him aside separately. What chapter is that? 43, I think?
43. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 43 that's Light Songs.
Uh,
No, maybe it's 42. I don't know.
yeah, I think it's actually
I'm low-key
42.
scared of a betrayal. I think
Uh,
betrayal is everywhere,
well,
honestly.
because I was pretty sure it was uh backwards for forwards. It was Siri, Viven, and then Light Song. So I think it's 42.
Yeah, it is 42. I'm trying to look through it right now. The fisherman, blah blah blah. Priestess walks away. They bring the squirrel out. Worked. Destroy the little. Lysong walked that way, and she followed a few servants trailing. Return did not age. Once they were out of earshot and view of the petitioners. So there's at least some servants with them when they're first talking. Possibly Larimar, because I think Larimar followed him inside. It's not specifically stated though.
He did follow him. He did follow him inside because I'm pretty sure you
Yeah,
would
he
make a
he
comment
followed him
like that
inside, but it doesn't specifically mention if he follows him to the little
to listen to the
secret
command.
area. Yeah, just that a few servants follow. So some of Elminster's servants are
I,
there.
I mean, I feel like because I feel like I know where you're going with the darkness. I feel like if that was the case, if Larmar was the person that did, created this fight kind of idea, uh, it would have stated it. I don't feel like the author would have like not put it in there to give us that clue. But
Larmar hasn't been brought up recently.
I mean,
Like a
I mean,
very like main character interactive moment.
yeah,
Um,
guys. I mean, he talked to Larmar about the squirrel.
well, well, that's like
I mean, so he was there. I'm saying so he has been talked about recently.
no, he kind of yeah.
I
I'm just
mean,
saying like he's
yeah.
there all the time. It could possibly be him, and it would make sense if it is like a group of priests from like
Hmm.
each section keeping tabs and all that stuff, and like the bigger picture is someone like under the God King's um priest group. Um, it would make sense if
How many chapters in this book?
There is 58, I
56?
believe.
58. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, 58 plus an
So,
epilogue.
all right. So we have 13 left.
We've got uh 3 more episodes.
Yeah, 13 chapters left though. So I'm trying to think of like how quick. I mean, it could probably happen real fast, but
It's about 150 pages left.
so so if you're so darkness, let's go running on your theory that it's Larmar, right? Because I'm trying to think of red lines here together. Um, if Larmar is the bad guy in some sense, and he's actually in my opinion, manipulate Lightsong to being bad, um, over time, like it it could be maybe he knew because we have the assumption that he knew
knew him
Lightsong,
before.
yeah,
Yeah.
beforehand. Maybe Lightsong was a bad person beforehand, and then Scoot is trying to, pretty much push him to that same thing, to being bad again. And then maybe he coerces him instead of knowing the commands. Maybe Lamar doesn't actually know the lifeless commands, but he pushes Lightsong into doing so, into creating whatever this pandemonium is.
I think it is mentioned that Larimar in the past that Larimar should at least know Light Song's commands. I
Hmm.
don't know about All Mothers, but like I think they say that for all of the gods, their head priest and potentially some of their other upper priests generally know the commands in case something happens to the god, so they
Hmm.
don't just lose those lifeless basically and have
So
to break them. So Larimar knows the one set of commands, and probably Blushweaver's high priest would know her 2 set of
yeah.
commands.
So I'm thinking.
You think they
Okay.
know both of them?
Well, because I
No,
mean, if
their own
Blushweaver
priest.
has the 2, yeah, then Blushweaver's high priest
So
would likely know
okay, so
all of hers.
you're saying that you think that
If what we've learned previously, where I think Blushweaver and other gods have said, I think it's mainly Blushweaver who said it, that like the high priest generally knows the command phrase that you
Hmm.
use, as well as
Mhm.
potentially a couple other upper priests. No, in your command,
Yeah, but they know your command though. How would they
Yeah, but the
know the
thing is,
other people's?
because
think
Blushweaver
of the
now owns
tunnel.
those. The ones that Blushweaver owns now,
So
they
you're
would know
saying
hers.
that they probably give them to them. Okay.
Yes,
Yeah, I'm saying
the
like
point was that if something happens to them, that their priest can give those commands to the god that takes over for them or to a different god.
Hmm.
So that they don't have to like
because like
work on like the really hard task of breaking the command for each of those lifeless and then giving them a new one.
what if ultimately they're like sharing that with the person that is the villain?
Hmm.
Because there are tunnels, and we still don't know what that's like really involved with. Besides the
Yeah.
fact that they're not
Um,
using them to get, they're using them to get in through
mhm.
Into
Um,
the court of gods without being
Hmm.
seen.
Yeah.
Which
Here's
also,
here's another theory that I have, but it probably there's no way it would be possible. I don't feel like, but like they say that he states the God King's dead. What
Hmm.
if Siri somehow got lifeless commands,
Oh, you think they
and
they
then
kill Susubra and she like
she
somehow gets the lifeless
retaliates?
commands and retaliates?
Yeah,
didn't we have? I
and murder them
feel like
all.
I don't know where I'm getting this image. I feel like we had like Siri crying or something
I
about
think
like.
it was Susubron crying. I think Lightsong's last dream, he saw Larimar sleeping, the God King crying, and Blushweaver like blushing or something.
Oh
Okay,
man, now I want to go back to find that.
yeah, I
That
remember
was Lightsong's
something about
last
that.
dream. It was last episode. Let me see if I can find that. Last episode. Where's the Lightsong chapter? Lightsong.
Because I remember that the God King was crying because I remember Darkness making a comment that maybe Siri dies. Oh my god.
What if? What if he actually
Oh
finds out?
no.
What if he actually finds out what happens? They know he finds out, and then they kill him. Siri gets upset. She finds a way to
Okay.
retaliate,
Here,
and that's
wait.
what's happening in the city.
Here it is.
Hmm.
So,
Here's another
so,
theory.
after the dream about the Idrian soldier,
Panther. Oh, okay.
he then says there'd also been recurring images that he's had, which was the glowing red panther, a tempest, and a young woman's face being absorbed into the darkness and eaten alive. He then states he saw Blushweaver, face red and flushed. He saw Larimar sleeping, and he saw the God King crying. That was what I had in my notes.
Okay. So here's another theory I have, which I'm actually gonna lean more on, I think. Um, what if Siri does die? God King retaliates instead. Gets killed, obviously. Um, but he's already given lifeless commands to these lifeless, and they're just murdering people senselessly.
Mm.
Because he does have commands, right?
I think they do. I think Blushweaver does say at one point that the God King has all of the commands. Or he. Does he have all of the commands? Or like he's able to break the command? I forget what it is. I feel like she says something about like him being able to use their lifeless, but I don't
Yeah, I was pretty
remember.
sure. Or did he have his own lifeless?
Or
Or maybe, yeah, maybe he had his own lifeless.
He has his
what if he
own
just gives the commands to
army.
Siri though?
Good, yeah. And then, like
And it,
before he dies, I mean, we're going on an assumption that this happens very quickly. It could
it's
happen
gonna have
like
to.
near the end, you know. Could be like near the end thing. Could be a
If it
whole
ends
Game of
with both of them
Thrones.
dying, I'm literally.
We're not reading another book
I'm
midnight.
not.
Nah, I'd
But
still
if
read
it's a
more.
really good end, even if they die, but if it's
There's
really
no good
good.
end. No.
Well, I mean, I could see a good ending for them both to die, but I mean, even if they both die, I don't care. I'll watch. I'll read the next book too.
There's
So
good books, no matter what the ending is. The books are so
on
good.
this. Oh God, she's getting you ready, darkness, for disappointment.
I'm just saying,
Getting
no
you
matter
ready for
what
disappointment.
happens.
They're both gonna die, darkness. God damn it! Now I want to read the whole book. God.
Why do you think I specifically did have you guys read this little chapter? I mean,
Well, I
it's.
mean, I still want. I even. Ugh,
My
even
head.
now, I want to read the whole
I
book
know.
now.
Anyways, I've got another question for this dream.
This three paragraph or this
Yeah,
three
this three
sentences.
sentence. Do you think it's significant that this happens the same night that Siri and Susubron have sex for the first time?
Yeah. Well, wait. Was it stated they had sex?
It's it's
It says that night
it's
though.
Heavily implied.
it's heavily. They have sex. I'm just gonna tell you they have sex this night.
Okay, so it's heavily implied, and now you're
It's
telling me it's
heavily implied.
explicit.
She
Okay.
takes off her shift and says, "I should really get better at controlling my impulses."
Yes, but that doesn't mean that
They're
like.
fucking.
I'm gonna.
That's it.
It's not a spoiler. I'm just gonna tell you they're fucking right now.
I'm
Oh
so
God.
upset. I.
God, spoilers.
Oh,
She's gonna be pregnant immediately now.
what if she just gives birth on the spot?
No.
just instantly 9 months pregnant when she wakes up.
That would be hilarious.
That'd be painful.
But yeah, so anyways, are you gonna answer my question? Do you think it's significant this dream that Lightsong has happens the exact same night?
Yeah, because she's pregnant now.
Yeah, that probably does mean she's pregnant.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, all right. So if we don't go as morbid, maybe she doesn't die. Maybe they take her away. That's why he cries, and then he gets all
Throws a tantrum.
revengey. Yeah, he gets all revengey and decides to, you know, summon the lifeless. I'm concerned and confused on how he would even command them, though. He has no tongue.
And how does Nightblood go into this?
Oh, I don't. Honestly, Nightblood's just a corrupted piece of shit. I think he's
Damn.
evil. I've stated it already. I've already stated he's evil. I mean, I don't think he's evil like Denth is evil, where Denth knows what he's doing and is purposefully doing evil things. I think he's
Evil sort of
evil.
like
I think he's naive evil.
like hmm, yeah.
Like, I think he has it wrong on what his creator has actually created him for.
Why are we not getting any more? There's no way we don't get any more insight on what like the background story for like Vasher and Nightblood.
I don't know, man. I hope
We're
we get
so
more.
close to the end, and there's like no like signs of that ever happening,
I
and it's
know,
like
right?
making
I
me
mean,
uncomfortable.
okay. First off,
There's
there
still
are kind
150
of signs.
pages.
Yeah, there's still kind of signs because
There's
he's talking to
13 chapters
Vivenna, so Vasher's
and an
told
epilogue.
Vivenna slightly about like Vasher and all of that, like like his involvement with Vasher. So like we could get it, maybe like it could be a single chapter thing. You know what I'm saying? It could be like him just being like, "Hey, this is how I got Nightblood," and like when he's giving his sword away or something. This is how I did it. Now you have to do better than me.
Um. Anyways,
Wait,
so
oh
go ahead.
wait, no, I'm just thinking, what if? Okay, so technically they've talked about how they killed the Nightblood's creator.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes, they have.
What
Shoshara.
if what if Venna has to kill Vasher in order to use it? If she is gonna use it,
You think you have to like kill his previous owner
owner,
in order to take him?
yeah,
Who knows?
that's gonna suck.
Yeah, I hope not. I like Vasher, but
So, I have some final overview questions now that we're done the chapters. First of all, when, if ever, do you think Vasher and Vivenna will run into Denth?
I
hopefully
forgot
next
about
chapter.
What'd you
I
say,
forgot
I
about
hope
Demetrius?
he kills him. I said hopefully next chapter, and I hope they kill them.
Yeah, I forgot about them.
I hope they slaughter everybody but Claude.
Bye. Well,
How long do you think Vivenna will stay with Vasher, if not until the end of the book?
The end of the book. And I mean, unless he dies or is killed, like
I was gonna say
unless
Vasher
darkness is
dies.
right. Yeah, unless darkness is right, and you have to kill the previous owner to
What if
gain access. I don't
what if Vasher and them fight to the death?
know. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Denth is better than Vasher.
I mean, Denth has said
Um,
that he's a better
but
swordsman than Vasher, but he also said Arsteel was better.
yeah, true.
But he
But
also said that Vasher
I
might have cheated, which means he could probably
my
use.
concept is that Denth is the one who killed Arsteel. So I don't think that I think I don't know. I feel like swordplay wise he's better than Vasher. But I
But
think
he also has awakening too. So,
yeah, I mean I think they both technically do. But
but Vasher uses it a lot more.
that we know of, yeah, sure. We don't know what
uh,
Denth does outside of it.
so also, do you think Ciri will actually get pregnant now that her and Susebron have moved
Yes.
forward in
Oh
their
yeah,
relationship?
sure.
100%. I think she's already pregnant. I think his sperm is like in pesticide. It
Oh
immediately
God.
happens. Yeah. and it kills the baby instant. I'm just
It's not the
gonna,
godly essence.
I'm going on that. I'm going on that concept that they had already about. I think they import another child in here.
Copy paste.
I mean, all the other returned are infertile, so
Yeah.
you're
So
just assuming that he's also infertile.
Because he's dead.
wait, who am I? I'm not infertile. I think I don't know. I feel like Susan Brown is fertile.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought you were saying he was
Yeah.
infertile.
No. I think he's fertile. I think she's gonna have a kid. Because like see let's see, right? If
What
he
if they like?
wasn't able to, right? If he wasn't
Mhm.
able to actually make her pregnant, why would the priest even care about her actually having sex? You could easily just be like, okay, yeah, she went and had sex with him the first night, and then like, a couple months later, all right, she's having a baby.
That's
You
true.
know, like if he's really is infertile, they would know that.
What if they just remove their ability to have like to reproduce?
Oh, you
Exactly.
think when they
That's what I'm
return, they
thinking.
like neuter him?
Yeah,
They give him a vasectomy
yeah.
and fucking spay the women. Yeah.
Damn.
I
I
mean,
flinched.
hey,
I flinched when you said that.
what? Give him a vasectomy and spay the women?
Yep.
I mean,
I just want to say you
it,
said neuter instead of vasectomy.
I like spay better.
Well, no, neuter is the guy version of spaying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know,
Mm.
but that's why I said vasectomy.
Yeah. Well, I think
And then
vasectomy and neutering are different things.
different. Yeah,
That's what I'm
totally
saying.
different.
I went the worst route.
Yeah. I
um,
mean, obviously they don't lop off, the penis because like they're able
They're
to do
still there,
things.
yeah,
Yeah,
to do stuff.
I'm pretty sure you would notice that.
I don't think neutering chops off
Especially
the
blush
penis.
weaver.
Doesn't it just chop off the
No, no, no.
balls?
Uh, n-
True. They haven't really stated if they have gonads, so
Um,
those are
anyways,
huevos are going.
do you think Lightsong will tell Blushweaver that he knows All Mother's command phrase?
no.
Hmm. 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 No, I think he's gonna tell her. I think he's gonna tell Blushweaver that he gave his command phrase to her.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Or he might tell her that he got it, but he just won't tell her. That's gonna complicate things though, so I probably think he won't.
She seems to like him though, and that's the part that I'm stuck on. Why does she like him so much?
That's the question,
Why
isn't it?
is he? Yeah, why is he one of the good ones in comparison to what Blushweaver thinks? Hmm.
Oh well.
Yeah, maybe Blushweaver is being manipulated just like Vivenna was.
Who knows?
Fuck.
That is my
You
last.
know. Stop saying who knows. You know.
But that is my last question. Did you guys have any other thoughts that you wanted to put out there? Thoughts or
Plenty, but
theories?
we'd be here for like hours as I put it all up on a red wire.
All right. Well,
Now I can't not read the rest of this. Now I'm gonna have to read the next chapters like immediately. All right, so
uh,
45 or 46 to 50. Got
no. Chapter. Oh, actually, it is 46 to 50.
It is 46 to 50.
It
it.
is 40 chapters 46 through 50 is next episode. All right.
Right.
Bye.
Oh, bye.